Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the next episode of Heresy Hammer. I am Rob, also known as Meadows Miniatures, and above me we've got Lee, who is at Death from the Shadows. So if you don't follow Heresy Hammer or Meadows Miniatures or Death from the Shadows, then please make sure you go and give us a follow. Me and Lee were just having a general chat about what he's going to be working on next, and then we were like, should we save it for the show? And then so we're carrying on that conversation. So. We are talking all things Night Lords today. So this is a Night Lords kind of Legion review, but we'll save that for the moment because Lee, you were just literally talking about you just finished 2,000 points worth of Iron Warriors, which miracle of miracles.
Well, I
Um,
say just. I've nearly finished.
oh,
I
nearly
haven't
finished. Oh,
just.
sorry,
Yeah, no,
sorry.
I'm nearly there.
And now you're talking about adding in an allied detachment.
So many moons ago. Well, it wasn't that long, but so I had a word bearers. For those who know, I had a word bearers army. I ended up selling it. I had a bit of a crisis of conscience. I fucking hate it all. Like sold my. Well, I needed the money as well, but sold my army. So I haven't had an army for a little while now. Um. And then I don't know when it was that I started doing the next army. It was probably about 9 months ago now, to be honest. It's probably been a while. But whenever I start a new project, I usually kind of come up with a handful of like what do I want to do? There's usually I have two or three legions in my head or ideas in my head. And then I'll kind of do a bit of research into those things. And I ended up doing, as most people will know, Iron Warriors. But I came very, 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 very fucking close to doing Night Lords. And I'll tell you for why. One of the main reasons was fucking devilishly handsome fella by the name of at Through the Eye of Terror.
Yeah,
And he has some Night Lords. He uses a lot of the like Chaos Space Marines
yeah,
mixed in with 30k bits,
yeah,
and I just fucking loved the aesthetic of how he did his Night Lords,
yeah.
and that is exactly how I would do my Night Lords. And yeah, and then I read the rules and I was like, oh, they're fucking super good as well. But then I ended up going Iron Warriors. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
his Night Lords are
literally,
lush, aren't they? Yeah, they're really, really
I
good.
just like, and yeah, just um shout out to Through the Eye of Terror. If you're on the Instagram and not following him, go give him a follow. But yeah, it just the aesthetic of his Night Lords is exactly how I would do him, and I have a metric fuck ton of Chaos Space Marines because I was going to use them for word bearers and I never did.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So I came very, 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 very close to doing Night Lords,
But
but I didn't.
now you're thinking about an allied
But now I'm
Mechanicum
like,
detachment.
well, we're gonna obviously today is a deep dive into the Night Lords, but Night Lords are really good, like
Right.
really, really good,
Yeah, they're so
and
good.
I feel like they are actually a good complement to Iron Warriors.
Hmm.
Um, they kind of do what Iron Warriors do because they of their bone their
They're plus
plus one
one.
to
Yeah.
wound. Um, but Iron War it I don't want to go too deep into it. But the thing that Iron Warriors struggle with is close combat. Unless you take Domitars, like they aren't really a close combat army. They're a shooting army.
Yeah.
And so I really like the idea of adding in some fast moving infantry that can just concentrate on
Are they busy mates
grabbing.
on the allied
Oh,
charts?
I don't think
Or
so.
are they like I'd imagine
Um,
that they utterly distrust each other.
I just think they just get along. They just like,
Oh,
oh,
interesting.
okay, you're there, we're here. Um,
Brutalizing your opponent.
yeah, I don't, you know what?
Well,
It's not
just
even
while you look
something
for
I
that, I
thought
will
about.
tell you about Mechanicum because I ran a Mechanicum Allied detachment at this Solar
Hmm.
Orcs and Militia event that I went to at the weekend. And
Oh no, they're distrusted
yeah, I
allies.
was going
Oh,
to say, I
that's
would have thought that like the the iron does not mesh well with the terror of the
no,
Night Lords.
that's interesting, isn't it?
Um,
Not
but yeah, I used
mm,
Mechanicum and
Oh
And
yeah,
just a
you
shout,
did.
yeah, and just a shout out to our Patreon series that we're currently kind of like doing. That seems like we've been doing it for 3 months because I think we have been doing it for 3 months now. But I used the cyberthurgy right that allows you to control other people's vehicles.
Yeah.
And it was fucking brilliant. Oh my God, it was brilliant. The first time I used it, I then just shot like I used it twice in one game. And the first time I just like nuked a squad of solar orcs with a plasma Lehman
Oh,
Russ,
Lehman Russ. Yeah,
and
okay.
then you take over because I also just I double checked it, and you take over a unit of
Yeah, well, you
vehicles.
said that. Just yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
because I said it on a chat, didn't I?
you
And
said
but
it on
did
a
you double
chat.
check it?
I
Yeah,
immediately went
yeah,
to my book. I was like, that's bullshit. It's not a
yeah.
fucking unit, it's a model.
No.
And then I was like, ooh,
Yeah, because
it's
the
a
thing about the
unit.
solar orcs is that they often, more often than not, those vehicles will come in units. Like
Yeah,
in
yeah,
marine
yeah.
lists, often you may take a squadron, but you may
Yeah.
take a single Sicaran,
And
for
and I
example.
would say that most people try to run vehicles on their own to stop
Exactly, exactly. But in a
stuff
solar
like that
orcs
happening
in a solar orcs list,
because they're
they're
so
often
cheap.
squadroned up because they're cheaper and
Yeah.
you can take a lot in one slot.
And
And then you
Tank
just
Commander,
can
that's a
you
thing as
yeah,
well, isn't it?
exactly. So you just control that unit, but also you use the Archmagos's ballistic skill, like, and he has
Yes. Yeah. Well, you have to
so
take a cyber check, don't you? And
yeah,
then
yeah,
you
yeah.
use the
That's
full ballistic
otherwise
skill.
snatch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a 10, right? I mean, you'd be really unlucky. I think you got 91% chance of it passing. You'd be really unlucky if you got
Yeah.
pinned.
You
But
see, now I just want to do a Mechanicum Allied detachment from now on.
honestly,
Like,
like I that combination
fuck the
of
Night Lords. Let's cancel this one off. Delete this. Come on. I'll just.
the combination of the Thalax with the jump packs and then the jetpacks and then
Yeah.
the Archmagos who can buy the jetpack and then just hopping around and getting close because that's the other thing is because often Archmagos are quite slow you know
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
with like but this one was just like boom 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 hiding behind stuff and then controlling it and
Nice.
then I just shot with those three
How does he go?
vanquishers.
How did he
Ba-dum,
jump
ba-dum,
about?
ba-dum. And then with those three vanquishers, I was like, "Oh, I'll just shoot your knight in the back," and it's gone. Like it
Yes.
was incredible. I definitely think that might be like I've sold that army now subsequently,
Right.
but I would
Do a
definitely do
Mechanicum
that
Allied.
do that combination again. And then I went
Ah,
for the Krios, two Krios Venators in a single
yes.
slot. Amazing, amazing. Like totally
What,
broken as fuck.
yeah, I mean, Mechanicum tanks have and will always be fucking amazing.
Yeah. Like
Um,
four strength nine shots that are pinning AP2,
yeah,
just
yeah,
so
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Cool. Anyway, well, enough
Anyways,
of that.
we
Yeah, yeah.
digress.
Anyway, yeah. So we are supposed to be talking about Night Lords. Before we get started, though, just a quick thanks to our sponsors. So first up, we have Sacrus Mundus, who creates and designs 3D kind of STL files for terrain. Some absolutely awesome stuff. Seeing lots more of their stuff of late. And seeing a lot of their stuff at the Greetings from the Warp event, which was absolutely
Oh,
amazing to see.
nice.
Some of
Yeah,
their
that's
terrain
cool.
was absolutely fantastic. You obviously
Mm.
they don't print it for you, but they do create the file, so you have to find a printer to print it off for you. Next up, we have Bits Monster, based in Northern Ireland, and you can get all your sprues, broken down kits. If you're looking to buy kind of like cheaper versions of kits, then go over to these guys. Like you want that one Vexilla sprue and 5 guys rather than buying 20 guys from G Dubs, then these guys are the guys to go to. Get free shipping over £25. You get 10% off if you use the code Heresy Hammer, all in caps as well. And thank you to Bling as well. Bling have just set up their Battle Builder, which is their like nameplate service, their website, which is really, really cool. You should check it out. These guys primarily focus on Legions Imperialis. And we've got more stuff for Legions Imperialis coming out for mech soon, so I'm sure they'll do kind of like upgrade kits and things like that for those guys as well. But you also get 10% off from those guys if you use the code Heresy Hammer, all in caps as well. So thank you to those guys. But without further ado, we're going to go to the Night Lords. I so two anecdotes on this. The first one is I play against Tom's Night Lords an awful lot. So I am a yeah a Night Lord hater, but I can respect how good that they are.
Right.
Because I think they are the best legion out of all the legions in the
Oh,
sense, not lore
really?
wise. I mean, lore wise,
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
got some
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool books, and they've
The
got some really cool fluff.
strongest.
But I think they are the strongest Legion. We'll talk about why. I think that Night Lords players will be crying at the moment, being like, "Meh, Attramenor weapon skill 4. Wah." I think that they are weakest against elite. Other elite units is what I would say though. So I
Yes.
think that they
Yeah.
are the strongest legion, but their Achilles heel is other elite like Terminator units. They find that hard to deal with. But we'll
Yeah, I
talk
can
about how they
see
can
that.
get around that in a bit. And also, just anecdotally, my second point is that Nathan, with his Night Lords, actually won our Royal Rumble Primarch tournament.
Ah,
So his army won against all other armies. And when you look at the army list, that I didn't think the army list was too outrageous. It was pretty like it
right.
was nails, of course, but it wasn't too outrageous. Like there were some stronger looking lists on paper. And I just think that number one, Nathan knows how to play, but number two, I think Night Lords is just a very, very, very good list, particularly with Curzin, and we'll talk about the reason why I think that. In terms of their
Yes.
lore, they've got a really like fascinating kind of like lore and story. Kind of, I guess, like I see Comrade Kurz as basically like a really fucked up version of Batman. He's all about vengeance and like
Yeah.
exacting justice on Nostromo, which is the planet on which he kind of like grew up. And he kind of took over that planet, kind of just via a veil of kind of like fear and terror, basically
Well,
like
it
stringing up
was
criminals by
it's
their testicles and stuff like that, right?
it's a planet that's perpetually in nighttime, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
And it is basically gang ridden. Like the
yeah.
whole planet is
Oh,
corrupt and
corruption,
gang
yeah,
ridden.
corruption from the aristocracy to the gangs, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then in steps the most fucked up Batman you've ever met in your life. I mean, this is the sort of guy that, if you
Yeah.
don't use the zebra crossing, he'll cut your legs off. It's there's like
that
like this.
that is it. That's the
Yeah.
perfect way to encapsulate it. But we've also got some amazing short stories. So I think the best short story, if not one of the best books written within the series, is actually Prince of Crows, which is a Sevatar story,
Yes. Yeah.
where he's just being an absolute dick kicker. But
He's fucking brilliant.
it was one of the first books that actually used humor well in a 40k
Yes.
novel,
Yeah.
outside of the Cyphers Kane like stories, because it's just such a black humor. And if you saw him in a TV series, even though he's a bad guy, like
He's the
flensing.
ultimate anti-hero, isn't he?
That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you haven't read Prince of Crows, you'll read it. It's a short story, maybe it takes like 6 hours to read. And you'll just want to start an Idols Army
I need
because
to read it again. I'll tell you what I have just purchased literally yesterday when I had a raging hard on for Night Lords. The Night Lord trilogy. I know
oh mate,
it's
oh my
not set
God,
in
yeah.
heresy, is it? Is it like just post heresy?
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not sure.
it's I
Or is
think it
it
is in the
fully
40 it's
40k?
41st
Okay.
millennium, yeah.
I've never
It's
read
actually
it.
interesting because they retconned in the second book, they retconned the timeline because
Right.
I think basically in the first book it was like just after the heresy, and then
Right.
I think they retconned it.
Okay.
And I think in his forward he basically says this is just slightly being changed to match up with
Right. Okay.
things. But
So yeah,
amazing set of
I've
books.
got those to read because I've never read them, and I've heard they're
Oh my
like
God,
literally no,
you not read
never.
them?
No.
Oh, they're brilliant. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they are absolutely fantastic books, and like it, it's kind of in my head what 40k, what the 41st millennium like is less about
Could
these
be.
like outrageously colored tyrannids and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's just really it's the ultimate kind of like grim dark, like the world that they live in is
Yeah.
totally and
Yeah.
utterly
Okay.
fucked.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. But
But
anyway, so check out those books. They've got some great short stories. They're of course they make a big appearance in like the Thramas Crusade, although we don't actually. It's a shame that there are no big novels that just look exclusively at the Thramas Crusade and how the Thramas Crusade played out.
yeah.
There are little snippets. I think there's like a quick battle on Segwalsa, like where the lion and Kurz fight, and I think that the Prince of Crows is like a follow up to that. I could be getting that wrong, but there's no like novels that chart the Thramas Crusade in detail, which is a bit of a shame, I think. And yeah, and Kurz is just a total badass, but he's also plagued by like psychic visions of the future.
Mm.
Um, and a great Kurz actually appears an awful lot in these novels because he appears in Unremembered Empire, just absolutely just one Primarch, just like
Yeah,
fighting
yeah,
off like
just a
the
one-man
Lion and
army.
Gilliman. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
I
causes a
have to
real
say with
nuisance.
those novels, it gets a little bit silly. I think there's a scene where he's fighting all three Primarchs at the same time, is he, or something?
It
I'm sure he's
he no, he's fighting the Lion and Gilliman at the
Gilliman.
same time.
So he's fighting two like absolute fucking alpha Chad uh Primarchs just at the same time, you know.
And it's just easily, isn't he? He's like,
Yeah, in most of these stories, when Primarchs fight one on one, it goes on for like 5 days, and
yeah,
mountains are being felled, and then there's just Curse just
yeah.
battering two of them.
Yeah,
Um,
it's it's
I
it's awesome.
I love the fluff of the Legion. I mean, essentially, the fluff of the Legion is they all come from they're basically Australians. They're all the byproduct of criminals, aren't they? They're basically their
Basically, yeah,
forefathers were all criminals, and then they were born in fucking prisons on Terra.
yeah,
The original kind of members of the Legion. And then, like you said, Kurz is just a fuck up, and they all know he's a fuck up. So they're like, "Oh, here's Dad.
yeah,
He's a bit of a dick, isn't he?" And
yeah,
then
yeah.
Kurz is like, "These are my sons. I fucking hate them
Hate
all.
them.
They're all
Yeah, yeah,
scumbags."
yeah.
So they all basically fucking hate each other.
A lot of
No
self-loathing
one
in that
trusts
Legion.
each other. They're all
Yeah,
fucking each other over all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, 100%. Because it's interesting because they've got this the Chiroptera, which is basically like the upper echelons, the command structure of the Legion, which is the very top, which kind of seems to answer directly just to Kurz, but essentially
Yeah,
they become their own ruling kind of like body. And it seems like they're constantly vying to like stab each other in the back, Game of Thrones style, get on to become part of the Chiroptera, and then
yeah,
but yeah, but that's explored more in Prince of Crows actually, so definitely worth checking out if you haven't. Anyway,
yeah.
right, well, we need to probably talk about the actual Legion rules while we're here because we've talked about Iron Warriors, Mechanicum, and books so far. So let's go over to the rules of the Legion. So this is just really good, and you're going to see how good it is.
Yes.
So, when a unit made up entirely models with a special rule during the fight subphase or makes a shooting attack against an enemy unit that is pinned, falling back, or outnumbered by the attacking unit, it gains a bonus of +1 to all to wound or armor penetration rolls made during the shooting attack or assault. When determining if a unit is outnumbered, models with the bulky X special rule count as a number of models equal to the value included as part of the special rule. Models with the vehicle unit type count as 10 models for the purposes of determining if the model is outnumbered by another unit. So, lots to kind of like unpick there. So the +1 to wound if you outnumber is really useful, really good. And particularly say with like you'll see Night Lords players using either big squads or squads with jump packs because then they'll be bulky too. Uh,
Yeah.
but the
Mm.
armor penetration is loco. Like the fact that if you think about this in vehicle squadrons, this is a good example of where you might want to take a vehicle squadron, but be careful because Mechanicum might might take over your tanks. But also, if you think about like laser rapier destroyers, they have bulky. I think they're bulky 3 or bulky 4, and then it
Oh, yeah.
soon adds up. So like a 3 like bulky like if you have 3 laser rapiers in one unit, you'll be able to outnumber a tank and then get
So they're
+1 to
bulky
your armor pen.
four.
And then you've got all the dudes to add on top of that as well. So each one would be 6, right? So
Oh
just two,
shit, I didn't even
just
think about
just
that.
two of
Yeah.
them would then be 12, which would just outnumber
Yeah.
a tank, and then would give you the +1. So like laser rapiers is often something that you would see in Night
Mm.
Lord's list. Laser rapier artillery. But yeah, those two rules combined together are really, really nice. I hadn't realized it was when pinned or falling back as well. But
Yes.
it's very, very Night Lordsy that one. And then those rules combined with some Legion War gear, which we'll talk about in a bit, makes them really, really strong. Anything else you want to say about those two
So the only
legions?
thing, and I did want to say this when we were talking about them before, at the start, but one thing with these rules, and we'll pick up as we talk through more of the Night Lord's units and rules, is uh, GW have done a really good job of making the Legion play how it should,
Yeah,
how it feels in the books.
yeah,
Um, Essentially, the Legion is a legion of cowards. Like they won't attack some. They're not like the Iron Warriors, where it's like just keep going at that until you die. If they think they're going to die attacking something, they're not going to attack it. So I love the fact that you only get these bonuses if the unit's fucking cowering, running away, or
yeah,
you can bully them because you outnumber them.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's a really strong rule, but it's also really fluffy. Like
yeah.
it really fits to the theme of the Legion.
Works really, really well,
Um,
doesn't it?
yeah,
The other
but it is a
thing,
fucking great rule.
yeah,
Like it's a really good rule.
really good. One thing I just want to pull out of this though is that Contemptors, Dreadnoughts,
Yes,
they only
automator.
count as one.
Mm,
And that is something to bear in mind. So there are ways to buff dreadnoughts, like Contemptors. We'll talk about that in a bit, with some war gear that wouldn't be usually open to, well, isn't open to any other
yeah,
legion. But it's just something to consider. So like, even if you take a talon of dreadnoughts, it wouldn't outnumber because they then separate and kind of like do
yeah,
their own thing. So
yeah.
you're looking at squadrons to outnumber. You're looking at laser rapier, like or um uh yeah, that's it's just something to consider. And also the other thing is it's not just to wound in combat; it's to wound in shooting as well. So
Yeah,
if you had a heavy bolter rapier destroy, like sorry, heavy bolter rapiers, and you had two of them, they would no longer be wounding on threes, which would be like strength 5 against fours. It would actually be wounding on twos because you would outnumber, say, like a 10-man tack squad.
yeah.
So yeah, I just these rules add up to be very, very powerful. That's what
Yeah,
I would say.
and the one thing I would add to that is because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, but contemptors only count as one model." It's fine. Like contemptors are amazing,
Yeah,
anyways. Like
yeah,
the fact that
exactly.
they don't get the buff is a bit odd, but
Yeah,
it's fine.
yeah.
Like you know what I mean? It's
And
fine.
actually, the reason why I think it's fine is some war gear that we'll have a look at in a bit.
Mm.
Anyway, do you want to take us through the best part of Valor?
I would love to take you
Which
through
is a
the
great
best part
name
of Valor.
for a advanced reaction.
So, this advanced reaction may be made once per battle during the assault phase when any enemy unit declares a charge targeting a friendly unit under the reactive player's control, the Legionnaires Astartes Night Lord's special rule. Before the charge is resolved, the target unit falls back as if it had failed a morale check, but immediately regroups once that move is completed and suffers none of the usual restrictions for a unit that has regrouped, and may move, run, charge, and make shooting attacks as normal. If this movement causes the target unit to move more than 12 inches from or out of sight of the charging unit, then the active player may redirect the charge to target another enemy unit within range. But if the target unit remains within 12 inches and within line of sight of the charging unit, the target unit must attempt the original charge. Fuck me, it's a lot of words, isn't it?
Yeah,
If the
but yeah.
fallback caused by this reaction forces a reacting unit to reach the edge of the battlefield, it immediately
Oh,
stops
right.
moving
Interesting.
and regroups, but suffers none of the usual restrictions for a unit that has regrouped and may move, run, charge, make shooting
Yeah.
attacks as normal. So
So yeah.
essentially, you're about to get charged. You don't want your unit to be charged. You use this reaction and you fall back, just a normal fullback. Um,
It could be
and
2 inches. It could be 12 inches, though, right? That's the
yeah,
thing.
yeah. But then if you have a Vexilla, you get to choose if you use
I
one
think
dice, I believe, off the
I
top of
think
my
it's
head.
one. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So maybe think about running Vexillas if you're planning on using this. And then once you've fallen back, your unit is back to reacting normally. If you're out
Which is
of,
actually pretty good. Actually,
which
that's
is
really
huge,
good.
yeah, because otherwise, yeah. Um, if the unit that was charging you is now 12 inches over 12 inches away and can no longer charge you, they can charge another of your units that is within 12 inches. Uh, and otherwise they just charge you and can end up standing there with their dicks in their hands. So
And they're about to
I
get
like
shot, right?
this. I
Yeah,
like this. I like the fact it's very fluffy with Night Lords of like, fuck, run away.
yeah.
And then you can run away and potentially charge back in your turn. So that
Hmm.
unit, or you could have put a stronger unit that they didn't necessarily want to charge, and now they're forced to charge that
Yeah,
stronger unit.
yeah.
But, there's a lot of pieces that have to be in the right place for you to make full use of
Yeah.
doing that.
And
I
and
feel,
ultimately it's down to the dice, isn't it? Because it could be
yeah,
two and it could be 12. Like you could
yeah.
just be lucky or you could be unlucky. Like,
I like this. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's very fluffy, and I think every once in a blue moon you'll be like, oh fuck, I really don't want that unit getting
yeah,
charged. And then you'll just do this and you'll
it'll
roll
fuck 'em- it'll fuck them
two
up. Yeah,
and
well,
you'll
yeah,
you'll
yeah.
end up
It'll go wrong.
fucking
Yeah.
getting charged. But uh and it depends what unit's charging you. Like, because some units, a 12-inch charge is actually not a 12-inch charge because of all
Mm,
the buffs they get to charging. Um, but yeah, I like this. I don't think it's fucking amazingly strong, but
mm.
I think it's fine.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Um,
Cool. All right.
when it
Cool.
works, it'll be great, and your
Yeah.
opponent will be like, "Oh, you slippery Night Lords."
Yeah. 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 That's where it
Um,
becomes awesome, right?
but yeah, I like it. I think it again, it's what I've said before. I think it fits in really well with the theme of the Legion,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
being cowards,
Cool.
running
Right.
away from a fair fight.
Right, well, let's have a look at the Warlord traits. So we've got three Warlord traits. So we've got Jadek Clan Lord. So Warlord with this trait, and all models, that's really important. All models that are part of a unit he joins gains the counterattack one special rule. That's actually really, really good.
Hmm.
And ignore all penalties to their movement and charge rolls due to terrain, and may reroll all failed dangerous terrain tests they are called upon to make. In addition,
Okay.
an army whose warlord takes this trait may make an additional reaction during the movement phase. So I think the Jadek are basically like biker mice from Mars kind of vibes to them,
Okay.
which would make sense why they have the reroll failed dangerous terrain. But if you've got a jump pack, like it's going to be massively
Yeah,
useful. And
that's
actually,
what
if you
I
don't
was
have a
thinking.
bike or a jump pack, just having counterattack and additional movement reaction is actually that both of those two things are quite valuable. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I think
good.
stick him in with a assault squad or a raptor squad. Is it raptor with the jump
Yeah, yeah,
packs?
Raptor Pop Squad, yeah.
And all of
A
a
command
sudden,
squad, like command squad with uh
yeah,
jump packs,
jump
like
packs,
be
and you're
great. Yeah.
re-rolling all failed dangerous terrain. That's fucking huge.
Yeah, great. Because they don't, apart from a combat shield, they wouldn't typically have a invulnerable save to be able
No,
to
and you
do
do
anything
not
about that.
want to be just taking models off because they've twisted their ankle.
Yeah, exactly right. Um Warmonger, trait ready. Why don't you take us through a Warmonger?
So shock horror, the warlord trait may only be selected by a model with the traitor allegiance. A warlord with this trait and any unit he has joined gains a bonus of +1 to all to hit rolls made when targeting enemy units that include one or more models with the
Okay.
independent character special rule and loyalist allegiance. Furthermore, if the army that includes a warlord with this trait also includes a detachment with the Legion as a starter's Sons of Horus faction,
Oh,
the
right.
warlord and any unit it joins gains the fearless special
Oh,
rule.
that's
In
good.
addition, an army whose warlord has this trait may make an additional reaction during the shooting phase, as long as the
Okay, that's
warlord
really good.
has not been removed as a casualty. I like that a lot. That's great. He's
Yeah,
basically
that is good.
an angry Raven Guard.
Okay, so a couple of things I want to pick out here. So the first thing is let's just have a look at the level of allegiance. So if the primary is Night Lords and Sons of Horus, they're just fellow warriors. Okay, so the Sworn Brothers. So it's interesting. So they can't. So a Night Lord can't join a Sons of Horus unit, which is just an interesting kind of
Mm,
one to bear in
okay,
mind. But having +1 to hit and then combining that with +1 to wound from the
that's
special rule
great.
if they outnumber
Yeah,
is going to be really
yeah.
powerful. And again, a lot of these things I'm always like, oh, jump pack because you're going to be bulky too, and then you're going to outnumber,
Yeah,
and then you're going to get
yeah,
the
yeah,
+1 to
yeah.
hit and +1 to hit. I mean, your Praetor now hitting on like twos against like a Centurion is just going to be massively like useful. And then, yeah, I suppose it opens it up to having kind of like Sons of Horus. Just a quick reminder, because Sons of Horus have the special character that can be taken as an allied detachment and has to be like the leader of an allied detachment, right? So what those give together. So it's the Dark Emissary. He's a 25 point upgrade. If he's selected, he must be a compulsory HQ in the allied detachment that is part of an army with a traitor allegiance. That's absolutely fine. Then all models in the allied detachment with the Sons of Horus special rule gain the stubborn special rule. So you'd have like a
Oh,
fearless warlord
eh,
and unit,
yeah,
and then all the Sons of Horus elements
stubborn.
would then be stubborn,
Hmm.
which would be pretty nice. And then just a couple of things. So, Staff of Dark Authority, all models with the traitor allegiance within 6 inches of a model with this Staff of Dark Authority, including that model, increases their leadership to 10 when taking morale or pinning check. So he can't join a Night Lord's unit, which might be quite nice. But if you just had him in the middle with a big blob of tactical like squads, and then like him like around other Night Lords, then being leadership 10 when making morale checks or pinning checks is going to be quite useful. Um, yeah, that'd be quite good, I think. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. I wonder if any of our viewers have done that before. Sons of Horus are always great in close combat because of the -1 to um, kind of the -1 to the strength so you do a lot of I think you do a lot of fucking around with people there. I think you got like
I
plus
like
one to
it.
hit and then +1 to wound, the +1 for armor pen, then also your -1 strength on Sons of Horus as well. So yeah, a couple of like yeah, I think this could be an interesting combination.
Plus, if you take one of the rights of war we're going to talk about, where most of the game is in night fighting,
Yeah,
if your Sons of Horus are all stubborn,
yeah,
they ignore the leadership,
yes,
-1 leadership
yeah.
to night fighting.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be nice. Yeah, cool.
mm,
Cool. Okay,
yeah,
that's
like
some
it.
interesting combination. So Flame Master. So Warlord with his trait gains the Fear 1 special rule. And each time that warlord is part of a combat that results in all enemy units being destroyed by having all of their models removed as casualties as part of a sweeping advance, or that is part of a challenge in which the enemy combatant is removed as casualty, it increases the value of that rule by +1 to up to Fear 3. And then you also gain an additional reaction during the assault phase. Yeah, there's not one of those is a bad choice,
No,
is what I would say.
no,
Like all of them,
no.
all three are actually pretty decent. Like I understand people would probably be less inclined to take the Fear 1 um, kind of rule. But if you're doing like lots of deep striking, it might come in handy because then you're going to be making people take pinning checks at -1, which is going
Yeah,
to be
and
useful.
you want your enemies pinned because then you automatically get your
Get
plus
your
one to
+1s.
wound.
And then also, if you've got a hard on for an additional assault reaction, then this might be the one for you. And remember that your special reaction is in the assault phase as well. So just having the flexibility to unlock that and then have another reaction is always going to be useful. I think my gut would probably actually go to um uh the warmonger. Just for the +1. I feel like you
Yeah.
could get like a lot of use out of it. And then
Oh,
yeah,
you know what? I like them all.
yeah, there's not one
I
I dislike there.
oh
Yeah, yeah,
I quite like the fear one. I think
yeah,
getting them up to fear free is huge.
yeah. Like for
Um,
like pinning and shit.
yeah, no, I like them all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, good,
I
right?
would actually struggle to pick one, to be
Yeah, I
honest
think
with
you
you.
got yeah, I think you would
You've
probably
really got to
build,
think what you
yeah,
want your
a build
warlord
a
to be
list
doing.
and a unit around the
Yeah,
Warlord trait. I think. Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, let's have a look. And this is why, by the way, Night Lords are just the best Legion. So the Swift Blade. Why don't you take us through the Swift Blade? I played against the
Okay.
Swift Blade only a
Have you?
couple of months ago. Yep,
Oh, interesting.
yep,
I I'm surprised at that. I didn't think many people
yep. No, it was a really
would
cool
run
kind of like
this.
the theme of it was really, really cool. They took some extra Thalax as scoring. I think they
Oh,
took a
yeah,
Forge Lord or
nice,
whatever.
nice.
And it was fast, it was mobile, but the thing that it suffers from is that it's bikes, and bikes
Yeah,
are
that's
T4,
yeah,
um,
they've been
and they
been
can just be
nerfed.
yeah, the jet bikes particularly been nerfed as well. But
Thallax, though, that's a good shout. Bulky too.
yeah, but yeah. But if you have heavy bolters, it doesn't matter because they just like
Uh,
evaporate.
yeah, fair one. Yeah, such a prick.
So.
Okay, Rite of War, the Swift Blade effects. A detachment using this Rite of War may take up to 5 HQ choices, regardless of the force organization chart in use. One of these HQ choices must be a Legion Praetor, and all other HQ choices selected must be a Legion Centurion, and must select a Legion Spather combat bike or a Legion scimitar jet bike. I'm going to tell you, I already love this rival. Legion Centurion may select an upgrade from the Legionis Consularis as per the normal rules. No single HQ choice is selected as the Warlord. Instead, all HQ choices are treated as the Warlord. These
Yeah, boy.
HQ do not choose a Warlord trait, but instead gain the Jadek Clan Lord Warlord trait. Okay, which is
Which is the one
the
we just literally looked at.
so sorry, I just need to. What are this trait? All models are part of the unit. Fuck me. So you could have five HQ.
Yeah.
They don't have to go together.
Yeah.
So you could put each one in 5 units, and they're all now just re-roll in dangerous terrain.
Yeah. And I suspect that you couldn't kill the warlord until you killed the last
No, yeah,
guy.
sorry, I'll keep
Yeah.
reading, but that is a thing.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I lost my way there.
All of the HQs.
So you choose the Warlord trait. All of the HQs in this detachment must be slain to
Yeah.
fulfill the conditions of any rule or objective that requires a Lord to
Fuck
be
you, Alpha
removed from
Legion.
game for
Fuck you,
casualty.
Raven Guard.
However, the bonus reaction granted by the Jedic Clan Lord Warlord trait is only added once per turn. Although the army retains this bonus until all warlords of this trait have been removed as a casualty. Okay, so
Oh,
you
the
can only.
bonus reaction granted by the. Oh, it's
Oh,
just the
sorry.
reaction.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
the
yeah. Well,
rule.
that
It's
makes
just the
sense.
reaction.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
fucking got
Yeah.
5 reactions a
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
Like,
That's so.
fuck
That's
me.
legit. Like that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's sorry. Yeah,
But then,
yeah.
so do you want to just go back and just remind everybody what that means that each unit, because you have basically five HQs,
Yes. So
up
you've
to
got
five HQs.
5 dudes
Yeah.
who all give counterattack 1
Yeah.
and ignore all penalties to movement and charge rolls due to terrain
Yeah.
and reroll all failed dangerous terrain tests.
These are the ultimate biker mice
That's
from
and you have to
Nostromo.
kill all 5 to get your
Yeah.
Slay the Warlord, which to be honest, like if you've lost 5 HQs, you've probably lost the game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like that is insane. I fucking love that. That's
I know. You
amazing.
know what? As well, I know exactly what I would do for this. I'm going to tell once you've done the last bullet point and the
I mean,
limitations.
I
I know.
already have an idea in my
Okay.
head, but
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
go
Go
on.
for it. Go for it.
Legion
You go.
Outrider,
Yeah. Finish it off, and then I'll tell you what I would do.
Legion Outrider squads may be taken as troops choices in the detachment using this right award, meh, but they don't gain um scoring, do they? They can just
No,
be
and
taken
that's
as
what I'll
troops
talk about in a
choices.
second. What I would
Okay.
do, what I do for this.
And then the limitations. This right of war may only be selected for a primary detachment. A detachment using this right of war may not take any model whose rules state that it must be the army's warlord, including but not limited to the Legion's Primarch. Okay. So you can't take any model that has to be the warlord. They
Yeah.
just
So
have to
like
be generic
Kurz, I
dudes.
suppose.
Yeah. A detachment using this right of war may not take any units that include one or more models with the heavy, bombard, slow, super heavy, or artillery unit subtypes. Okay,
Yeah. So
that's
no,
quite a
no, no
fucking
laser rapiers, right?
yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? But
Yeah,
then I guess
it
it
is
makes
it
sense.
is
It's a
it
fast
is
moving.
it is a shame. So no cataphracti terminators or anything like that, but you can still take like Tartarus terminators and stuff. So and also like you can still take contemptors within this list. Like yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, because they're
interesting.
not
Yeah,
heavy
yeah, yeah, yeah.
bombard,
No, no,
slow,
you just couldn't
super
take
artillery.
Leviathans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what I'd do for this. I would take your Praetor and I'd take him with a command squad. And you can put him on Outrider bikes or you can put him on Spather jet bikes. And then I'd just have them all with lightning claws. Then they are scoring because they've got the banner in there. And then I'd just take like 4 Legion Heralds with like thunder hammers and then attach them to like outrider squads and then they become fearless, they're scoring, and then they can re-roll like all their things. And then the other thing I would say about outrider squads is that they obviously have the +1 to wound. Are they bulky too? I imagine like outriders are bulky too, are
I
they?
was literally just checking because I was thinking for oh
Are they not bulky?
no, it doesn't say bulky, but I wonder if it will come
No,
under
the
the
actual bike rule. Anyway,
yeah.
so I would, and you could mix and match, right? You could have, if you've got the fast slots, you can take some some scimitar jet bikes, and then put some heralds with them, and then you can take some outriders, and your outriders would be predominantly your shooting. Don't forget you get all your +1 to outnumbering, etc., etc. But the thing is that they're fearless and they're scoring. You don't want them running off the board, ideally. Um, one thing I would say about bikes, though, with this is when you use the Legion Advanced Reaction, I would imagine it's 3d6 rather than 2d6. So you have a
Yes.
much better chance of running
Yes.
away and then being out of range for their charge. So that's something to consider. And you don't need to worry about kind of like running off the board either. You just regroup at the board edge and then kind of go back to normal, which seems quite good. I think that the problem with the list is it fall down inherently because jet bikes and bikes are just much weaker than they used to be. As a concept, it's a really, really cool Legion force, and actually just having those buffs to it kind of I think it's pretty cool.
So
Um,
from what I can tell, you don't
you
get
don't get bulky.
bulky, which
Interesting.
seems fucking bizarre to
Well,
me.
if you guys know if the bikes are bulky, then just let us know. Maybe it's
And
just
the
that we
same
can't
with the
find it and it's
jet
very short.
bikes as well. But
Interesting.
I just want to check one more thing. So that was not my idea at
Okay.
all. Like
Okay. Well,
to run all the fucking banners.
well,
Just
the other thing is
yeah.
that also makes fear bubbles as well, right? So like they're
Yeah,
fearless, but they're
yeah,
also
yeah,
fear
yeah.
one. So yeah, if you got some weapons with some pinning or something like that, some recon marines in there, then yeah, with some bikes nearby, they'd just be a -1 leadership, pin them, and then you get a +1 as well. So
I mean, I know it's well, my initial plan, and I know it's more expensive, would to be go down the jet bike uh uh way of running things, but
yeah.
as far as I can see, they're not bulky, so I wouldn't run bikes at all. I would just go for assault squads.
Oh, interesting.
And Raptor, because there's nothing in there that says you have to run Outriders.
Yeah, no, it's well, oh, okay, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, but you've got to select, but your HQ choices have to select a Spathical
So
night biker or something.
I would take a HQ squad, but I'd stick them all on jet bikes.
Right, okay.
But it's just shit, isn't it? That's shit that they don't get.
They're
But
not,
how
but
can they not be fucking bulky? Look at the
just
size of it. But it literally says in the Warhawk jump thing,
it's bulky too, is it?
you bulky, you gain. Yeah.
Perhaps it's in fact. If you guys know if it is bulky, then let us know. If you're a Night Elf player and lamenting the fact that it isn't bulky, then also let us know as well. Anyway, let's have a look at the next
Yeah.
one because this is
But I do
there's
think that's quite big because that affects that a lot because
yeah,
your whole Legion kind of rule relies on you
outnumber.
outnumbering your
Yeah,
enemy, and if you can't outnumber them, then brr.
yeah.
But yeah, let us know.
Cool. Okay, well, let's have a look at the Terror Assault because this is the one that
Ah, here
typically
we
that you
go.
would see. Yeah, this is just typically what you would see.
Yeah.
And then we will talk about it. We'll probably come back to it when we talk more about the war gear as well. So, Terror Assault, the scourge of the 31st millennium battlefield. So, when a detachment in a battle using this rite of war, the night fighting rule are always in effect at the start of the first game turn. So you don't roll it, you don't agree it with your opponent, and you just like, it's on, baby. Um, and remain in play until the end of the second game turn. So 50% of your Siege of Cthonia mission will be played at night.
Oh
Uh,
God, yeah.
at the start of the third game turn, before any resolves are made or moved, then you basically roll for it. If it's a 4 up or greater, then the night fight rule remains in effect. And if it's a result of the 3 or less, then the night fight rule ends immediately. And at the start of the fourth turn, the night fight rules are automatically removed. So there's a 50% chance it'll be on for the third turn, and then it's just off for the fourth turn. So you are playing in the night, like which is like great for Night Lords because their war gear and rules are they enjoy that. Not so
Yeah.
great if you're an opponent if you
Yeah.
don't like fighting in the night. Terror assaults and Night Raptor squads may be taken as troop choice in detachment using this right war. I think that Night Raptors are a trap, but some people may disagree with me. But I think they're
I
a trap.
kind of agree, kind of don't agree. But yeah,
When
we'll
we get
get
to
to
Night
that.
Raptors,
Yeah.
we'll discuss it. I think they
Yeah.
suffer from the same thing that um, Reavers suffer from. Any model with the Night Lord special rule and the character unit type in attachment unit in this rival gains the Fear 1 special rule. Really nice. Like that's
Yeah.
just nice. And
Yeah.
again, it's just helping with like pinning. But also it's not just like with pinning and stuff. If you win a combat, they taking their leadership check at -1 because obviously because
Mm.
of fear and stuff. So just bear that one in mind. Um It may only be selected as the primary. You may only take a single heavy support choice, which is why I mentioned a lot about laser rapier destroyers previously, because I was like, well, if you just fill the elites and stack the elites with those, then you're worrying less about the heavies, and you've still got sort of a lot of decent kind of like long ranged
Yeah,
firepower.
yeah,
And an army whose primary attachment has this rival may not include any lords of war choices or models with a super heavy type. Again, though, it's really interesting. You can, with this right, you can take the Sons of Horus in the allied detachment because there's no limitations on the allied detachment. So
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
something
yeah,
to bear in mind. If you take that traitor only warlord trait, like all these things can sync up really, really nicely. Um, yeah. So I think
yeah, yeah. And then you're opening up another heavy support choice.
and that's it, isn't it? And then you
Yeah,
kind of like, oh,
yeah, yeah.
hello, like this works. This works for me. I like, yeah. I just there's and then your warlord becomes fearless, right? Because of the Sons of Horus are in there.
Mm.
They become
If you
fearless.
take that warlord trait,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
take
yeah,
that
yeah,
warlord trait, yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so really, really nice like right war. I think that obviously your list build will need to take into consideration the fact that you haven't only have one heavy support if you're a love heavy supports, but also don't forget you can still take 12 contemptors within your elite slots. So, it's not I wouldn't lament it too much.
No,
Or three Leviathans
no.
in one heavy sports slot. Um
Um,
yeah, so I think we should probably talk about the war gear options now because I
yeah,
then probably come back to this. But on the
yeah.
whole, it's a really good right of war, mainly because of what we're about to talk about next.
Really good, really good. To go along with their really good piece of equipment they can take.
Yeah. So I'm going to do Preysight first because then that
Okay.
will
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
join
yeah,
up
yeah.
our conversation.
Yeah.
So I think Preysight is one of the best pieces of war gear that you can buy for any legion. Like
I
fuck your Solarite Power Gauntlets, like fuck your Mantle of the Elder Drake, fuck the armor of Ultramar. Like this single piece of war gear, I think, changes the game for Night Lords players. So,
Yeah.
Prey Sight, all models in a unit composed entirely of models with the Legion Astartes on Night Lords special rule may be given the Night Vision rule for 15 points per unit. So, Night Vision, you basically ignore the effects of night fight, so you can fire beyond the 24. Your ballistic skill is not affected, but also you cannot shroud against attacks
Yes.
from the
Yeah.
night vision, which is the critical thing. So
Yes.
your tanks, for example, you're like, oh, I've got a cover save of a 6 up or whatever, but I'll also shroud as well. No, you can no longer shroud anymore. And that shroud, that second or that shooting reaction is so important. And if you think about Alpha Legion, so Alpha Legion, the Headhunter Leviathan, they all their infantry gain shrouded first turn. Night Lords would just ignore that with this war gear. Like it's not ignoring the evade, it's just ignoring any shroud that you have.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to consider with this is that so your tanks can buy it because it's just models with the Night Lord special rule. Your tanks can buy it, and they don't need to buy a searchlight. So it's not like your opponent would have to have searchlights to be able to see you. Um, because they cannot actually because you are not lit up in and of yourself. Like your tanks don't have searchlights. They'll buy night vision, which is just better, and they can't see you. Contemptors, which can't buy any kind of searchlight, uh, can just buy this, and then your double las cannon, your double your conversion beamer
Conversion
can
beamer.
can just fire, and then
Yeah.
you also get no shrouded against it. Like
Yeah.
this piece of war gear is utterly loco. Your Legion artillery can buy it. Like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
combined with all the buffs for outnumbering, you've got very, very strong Legion units. And it's funny
Yeah.
because you always just associate with Night Lords with being like, oh, they're a close combat army. They're all about like ripping the faces off their enemies. Like they are one of the best shooting armies because of prey sight and then because of their armor pen and outnumbering rules. I think like it is crazy. Yeah. Any any further thoughts on that?
No, no, exactly that. Like um, I was looking at some of the lists of an event not long ago, and every single unit had a fucking last cannon squad in it.
Yeah.
Now, unless they have a means to shoot beyond 24 inches in night fighting, pew, 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 pew,
Yeah,
pew, fucking just get at them, like
yeah,
um, and they can't evade either. So their reaction in the shooting phase is fuck all,
yeah, and that's exactly it.
essentially.
Yeah,
Like you're literally, unless someone has actually put points into countering night fighting,
yeah,
like you're just gonna fucking murder them.
yeah.
Like
Like,
it's
and you could be
it's
clever with recon runes. You
brilliant.
could be like, that augury scanner. I'm going to kill that augury scanner
Yeah,
first, and
yeah,
then I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah,
fire
yeah.
into it, and then
And
I
that's
won't worry about it.
exactly it. That's exactly it. And that is one thing I did want to say when we were talking about the Legion rule, actually, is everyone immediately thinks, oh, fuck, I've got to make bigger squads um, because I need to take advantage of outnumbering. No, like you don't. Like just some small units are there to do a specific job,
Yeah,
i.e., like you say, recon troops,
yeah.
killing augury scanners, killing, you know, like tech marines, whatever they have
And
in the
also have the
squad.
chance to pin, and then you get plus
Yeah,
one to wound because then
yeah,
pin.
and then yeah, but they are there to do a specific job, and then your, 15-man squad of whatever can attack and get the bonuses to their Legion rules. So yeah, don't think like, oh, I have to max out every squad. No, have squads that do specific things
Yeah,
to kill those fucking annoying little dudes
yeah,
because yeah, it's night
cool.
fight and you don't give a fuck because you can see in the dark.
Exactly. Right. Okay. Well, let's go through a few other bits of war gear that they can buy. I'll do the trophies of judgment, bloody murder, and then laws of murder, and then Lee can go through the weapons. So trophies of judgment. So any model with the Night Lords and characters unit subtype may be given the Fear One special rule for 10 points. A model that already has an aversion of Fear X special rule may not be upgraded with trophies of judgment. So that warlord trait that we
Mm.
saw where you came with Fear One.
Mm.
And then it can stack up with the second assault reaction. You can actually just buy fear one for your characters like anyway.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind when you're selecting water traits. You might just go, well, I'll just pay 10 points to get fear, and then I'll select a different water trait. Bloody murder. When a unit composed entirely of models with this special rule declares a charge targeting a unit that is pinned or falling back, the charge roll gains an additional +1 modifier. And if the charge is successful, then all models in the charging unit gain +1 attack for the duration of the turn in which that charge is made. So we'll come back to bloody murder because it will be a rule that appears like in unit entries.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not something you can buy. So yeah, we'll come back to that one. And then laws of murder, any model with the independent character in the Astartes Night Elf special rule that does not also have the unique subtype may be given the bloody murder special. Oh, there you go. Just below for 5 points. I read it in the wrong order there. So you can well, that's really good. So an independent character can buy bloody murder for 5 points, not Sevatar though, because he's unique. And then a unit composed entirely of models with a special. That's interesting. So it has to be composed of entirely of models with a special rule. So we will encounter units, I think, in a bit that have bloody murder, and then you attach the independent character to them, and then the whole
Okay,
thing
yeah,
has them.
just to make sure they don't lose that
Yeah.
rule.
Cool, cool, cool. Do you want to take us through the
Okay,
chain weapons and the
yes.
Escalon power claws?
Nostraman chain weapons. So any model with the character subtype and the Night Lord special rule may exchange a power weapon for a chain blade or chain glaive for +10 points per model, or a headsman's axe for +15 points per model. All weapons listed here are counted as chain weapons for those rules that affect such weapons. So, Chainblade, strength +1, AP 3, melee, shred, breaching 6 plus. Chain Glaive, strength +2, AP 3, melee, two-handed, shred, breaching 6 plus. And the Headsman's Axe is strength times 2, Jesus. AP 3, melee, two-handed, shred, breaching 6 plus. Yeah, fine.
Do you?
I
Although
like
it
the
says there
Headsman's
you
Axe.
you may exchange a power weapon for the chain weapon for
Yes.
10 points, but do you have to buy the power
Yeah,
weapon and then
this is
plus?
exactly what I was going to say.
Fucking hell. So
It's
Headsman's Axe is a 25 point like
yes.
upgrade. Fuck. It's crazy.
But I do like the Headsman's Axe because it's going at initiative.
Yeah, okay.
I do like that. You're doubling out units.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I
With a chance
probably
of
wouldn't bother with any of the others.
yeah.
Uh, they're nice, but it's a fucking lot of points. Even if you didn't have to
Yeah,
replace a power weapon, 10 points each. Like you've got to think nine times out of ten, your whole for units that are going to be getting in and chopping up other units, you want to be outnumbering those units,
yeah,
and then you're getting the plus one to wound anyways.
yeah. I
So you
this
know,
feels like it could have been fact. So if you guys know if it's been fact, let us know in the comments below. But 25 points for even
it's
a
a
wet
lot,
like
isn't
that
it?
isn't just AP2 is a fuck ton of points. Like,
Um, but there are some units that I think just come with some of these, are there?
right,
I
okay, yeah,
think off the
okay.
top of my head, I am struggling to remember now. But I mean,
Well,
again, if you
it will
think
be
a chain
the
blade,
night raptors will come with
yeah, a chain blade is plus one strength. So, you know, if you're outnumbering a normal marine unit, you're
yeah.
wounding on twos with shred and breaching 6+. So it's pretty good, but that's a fucking lot of points. I think you're better off just with a fucking bog standard chainsword and save yourself 15, 20 points.
Yeah.
And then the Eschaton Power Claw. Any model with the independent character and Legionnaires Astartes Night Lord special will may exchange a Power Fist for an Eschaton Power Claw for plus 10 points per model. The weapon listed here is counted as a power weapon. Eschaton Power Claw is strength times 2, AP2, melee, shred, murderous strike 6+, unwieldy, specialist weapon.
Yeah,
Uh,
so 10
yeah,
points. So exchange power fist. So you got to pay for the power fist, and
yeah,
then you got to pay for this. So you're gaining the shred, which is nice, I guess,
yeah.
and then the murder strike as well. So shred and murder strike. Yeah, I suppose. But the thing is, yeah, you'd be unlucky to roll a ton of ones. Um,
That's the thing, isn't it? You're
but against
wounding
something
pretty
that's
much
very
everything on
tough,
twos.
yeah, against something that's very tough, I suppose it's going to be useful. But
I
it's
mean, if you're throwing this guy into contemptors,
Yep. Yeah, because you'd be winning on
you're
threes, right? So you
now,
re-rolling those twos and ones would be quite useful.
yeah.
But the thing is though, you're always going to be in a because the contemptor is worth one. So you'd be
So you're
wounding
going
it
to be
on
outnumbering, so you'll be
so you'd be
wounding
winning it
on
on threes anyway.
twos.
Yeah, twos, sorry, yeah, twos. And then so you just be have to be super yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I'd be interested to know whether it was worth the 10 points. I think the thing is for Night Lost players, what I suspect is going to happen is that you're going to be in that constant decision of do I upgrade like units or do I just go for Prey Site? Like, because
Yeah.
they've got loads of upgrades that probably could be quite expensive if you upgraded every unit with these things. And you're probably just going to go, I only have a budget of points, like 10% to upgrade my army with stuff. Like I can't just spend it all on eschaton power claws or headsman's axes or whatever. Yeah, so yeah, I think interesting choice and probably could come in clutch sometimes, but probably not that useful.
Yeah, I'd rather take a power axe pretty
Yes,
much over
yeah,
any of those, to be
because they're
totally honest, and
AP2,
save
right?
myself
Yeah,
fucking lots of points.
yeah,
Like, I don't know.
and that's
Like,
it, isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah, cool. Okay,
Um,
well, let's have a look at the what's up next. The daddy himself.
right.
Okay, well, before we get into Batman, let's have a quick break and then we'll come back and have a look at his rules. Oh, welcome back,
Oh.
everybody. Oh, you saw behind the curtain there. Bit of inside baseball. Right. Okay. So,
Um,
uh,
can I
um,
just say that I
oh
just
yeah,
we whilst Rob was having his week bladder break,
yeah.
I just double checked the FAQ and they that is the cost. That seems ridiculous. You're
That's
talking
obscene.
so it's
Yeah,
15 points to give a Centurion a power weapon, and then
yeah,
another 10 points to give a AP free chain
yeah.
weapon.
Fuck
You're
that.
like
Yeah.
25 points. Another 5 points, you could give him a thunder hammer. You know what I mean?
And you're
Like
just
what
always
the
going to take that.
fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay,
Anyways.
cool. Well, let's go to Comrade Curse. So, Comrade Curse is the Prime of the Night Lords, the Night Haunter. 450 points. He has a lot of rules. So, he's movement 8, as you would expect a Prime to be, or weapon skill 8, which is really tasty. Ballistic skill 7, which will come up in a bit. Strength, and then he's sixes across the board for strength, toughness, and wounds. And then he's initiative 7, attack 7, and then leadership 10 and 2 up. As stats, all of those stats are brilliant. Like they're really
Mm.
good stats.
Yeah.
He is a Primarch, but he's also a Psyker. So just bear that one in mind if you are have Sisters of Silence in your in your force because that could
Oh,
fuck him up. I know we often think about like Thousand Sons and Word Bearers, but also Comrade Curzon's around and about. It might fuck it. Send Janisha Kroll in, it might just fuck him up. Um, he's got. We'll go through kind of like the war gear. The kind of like the important war gear, but some of the special rules that are going to be important to note is that he has hit and run. So he can flee out of a combat when it's useful for him to flee. He has fear 3. So yeah, fear 3 is Tresbian.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and he himself comes with night vision. Not it's going to be useful because you can't shroud against him. Not as useful as I say on a conversion beam of dreadnought, but it's still useful because you can't shroud. And then he is of course a traitor and he is Sire the Night Lords. Now here's rules. This is where it gets stupid crazy.
Fucking
Yeah, this is where it just
yeah,
gets
yeah, yeah,
nuts.
yeah,
So please bear in mind he's 450 points, just him, right? All models
Oh
with the
God, I love it
infantry,
so much.
yeah, all models with the infantry, dreadnought, or cavalry unit type, and the night or special rule in the same army as Comrade Curse gain the night vision and bloody murder special rules,
That's
right?
fucking insane.
So we
That's
just like
insane.
we just looked at the cost. So for a character, sorry, an independent character to gain that bloody murder rule, it was 5 points, right?
5 points, yeah.
For a unit to gain prey sight, which gives the night vision special rule, is 15 points, right?
15, yeah.
Now, everybody in your army who's infantry, dreadnought, or cavalry has just been given the bloody murder rule. So you times however many models you have by 5 points. That's how
Yeah, yeah,
models
yeah, yeah, yeah.
many points you're saving, and you've just gained the prey sight special rule on those units. So like you have 10 units.
That's
Uh,
exactly what I was going to say.
you've saved
Yeah.
yourself 150 points. So
Or
Comrade
curses
Curse,
cost you 300 points.
and that's it because
It's
Comrade Curse
fucking.
actually in terms of like the amount of war gear he's just given to his entire army is just off the chain. Like I could definitely imagine him being like 1,000 because you're going to have like 50 models in your
Yeah, 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 yeah,
army,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you're just like, oh, 55 times 5, oh, okay, 250 50 points. Like fuck.
Fucking
um
awesome. Yeah,
yeah, it's
brilliant.
crazy. It's nuts. And they are immune to the effects of fear, which is brilliant. In addition, you gain an additional movement reaction as well, which
I mean,
makes
that's
sense.
immune to fear is actually pretty good as well.
It's
Like
really
it,
good.
it
Yeah, you
doesn't
don't need to
pop
worry
up a
about
huge amount.
no, you don't need to worry about
And it's one of
herald or
those
anything like that.
things, if you have fear, you can still be affected by fear. You're not immune to
Yeah, the fear.
fear.
Yeah, you are
Um,
not yourself fearless.
yeah,
Yeah,
no.
but these guys aren't fearless. I suppose they're
No, no,
just
no, no. They're just
affected.
immune to the
Yeah.
effects of fear.
So yeah,
Um,
so in terms of the Primarchs that we've like analyzed and done the rules for, I think he must be one of the most cost-effective Primarchs on
yeah, yeah,
like in an army.
definitely.
Right, let's have a look at the Widowmakers. So these are his shooting weapons, but they're really bangerangs. That's actually what they are. So Widowmaker volley, 12-inch range, strength 4, AP 5, assault 3, and rending 4 up. Rending 4 up's pretty tasty, isn't it?
Pretty
That's good.
good, yeah.
And bear in mind, he can, well, he can't, I suppose if he's with a unit, he can outnumber, can't he? So, yeah, it's pretty good. And then we've got the Nightmare Mantle. So that gives him a 2-up, 4-up in Bun. And in addition, the Nightmare Mantle allows Comrade Curse to ignore all modifiers to his movement from any source, automatically pass all during dangerous terrain checks. That's fucking brilliant. And when choosing to run, adds 12 to his movement characteristic instead of his initiative characteristic.
I guess the only trouble with that is no one's keeping up with you.
No, no one's keeping up with you. But even if he did run, he has initiative 7. So he still moves pretty fast, and that unit he would be with would move pretty fast. So
Okay, yeah, power on.
I
Yeah.
think he'd take the highest initiative. But yeah, if you did want to run him on his own for some mad reason, he can move well
I don't
20
hate
20
that.
in one turn.
You're at the end of the game and you need to kill something. You're like, fuck it.
Yeah,
Comrade can go over there.
get and do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so he's got mercy and forgiveness. which are two melee weapons. So I'm assuming he gets an additional weapon for close combat weapons. So he actually has
Yeah.
eight attacks and then nine on the charge. And these are basically exactly the same. So they are AP2 strength user, so they'll be at strength six. They got melee, shred, and murder strike 4 up. The things he's not he's going to be wounding a dreadnought on if it's just him and a dread, I think on a five. But those fives would obviously be murderous strike, so there would be D3 wounds on a dread. But if he is in a unit and he does outnumber that contemptor, just remember that he gets +1 to wound. It's interesting. Primarchs are not bulky
I
anything.
just was just thinking that. Does it
That's
not come
interesting.
under?
See, I think
You know
sometimes
what?
the bulky rule comes under the special
Yeah, well,
rules rather than the
that's
Primarch
what
rule
I
because,
was
like, I
just
think
gonna
Ferrus
check.
Manus is a total fat bastard, isn't he? And like Fulgrim is like bulky
Alright.
six or something, absolutely loco. Well, while Lee looks at that,
Bulky four.
okay, he's bulky four,
Yeah,
so
so
he'd
they
always
just come with
outnumber.
bulky four.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
so on
yeah,
a
yeah.
dread he would be wounding it on fours, and then it would be more to murder strike 4 up as well. So I don't think he's going to have too much of an issue against
Uh,
dread.
oh yeah, he'd be wounding on fours with the
Yeah,
rule. Yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
with
yeah,
the rule,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then a contempt is going to be hitting him back on like fives. So yeah,
yeah.
I think he's got that. I think he's got that. It's interesting. Oh, and he has the bloody murder special rule as well. Okay, cool. Um, so he gains access to the glimpse of death, psychic power, and no other disciplines. And that psychic power, at the start of any assault phase, a psychic check may be made for comrade Kurds by the controlling player. This is made against the leadership of 7. If this check is passed, comrade Kurds gain the feel no pain 4 up special rule. Oh my god, that's
Ooh,
crazy.
fucking hell. And holy shit.
Yeah, and 1 attack for the duration of that assault phase. If the check is failed, comrade Kurds suffers the perils of the warp. Now, I think Heart of the Legion confers, and I think it's just +1. I'd have to check if it's +1 to a maximum of like 4 up. I will check that in a
Right.
moment. But if he's with a squad of like tactical marines and then they're on objective and then this psychic power goes off, then he may have a feel no pain 3 up. But Heart of the Legion might cap out to a maximum of like a 4 up. So I'd have to Lee can double check that one.
I'll have a look at
Because
that
Heart of the Legion
bullshit.
definitely confers
Uh,
to like the independent characters that go onto it. I just don't know if it caps out. And then King of Terrors, when combat occurs and any unit is joined, ends a combat by removing all of the enemy models as casualties or destroying an enemy unit due to super advance. All enemy units that are not locked in combat and can draw a line of sight to combat occurs must immediately take a pinning check. Holy fuck,
oh,
he's so good. Fuck. So he wins the combat, and any enemy unit that can see him, sorry, if he sweeps, then any enemy unit that can see him has to take a pinning check. Because like fuck,
that's
just rip,
fucking
he's just ripped the face off
amazing.
that person. Is wearing it as his own skin now? He's like fuck, quickly hide behind this thing
But then that's where this is exactly where you want fear in lots of
of
units,
units. Yeah,
and now your army's -1 to its leadership checks. Your snipers have taken
yeah,
out the sergeants.
yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah,
Fuck,
that's fucking amazing.
yeah, that's really good. Did you
So
find
Heart of
Heart
the
of the Legion?
Legion. When a unit that includes at least one model with this special rule has at least half of its models within 6 inches of an objective, then all models in the unit gain Feel No Pain 6+ and stubborn special rules. Uh, if any model in the unit already has a variant of the Feel No Pain special rule, then instead increase the value in brackets of one of those rules by +1, while the unit has at least half of its models within 6 inches of an
Yeah, so you
objective.
got to have 50% of the unit on the objective within
For
6 inches.
example, a model that already had Feel No Pain 5+ could choose to increase this Feel No Pain to 4+ while it fulfills the
Yeah.
conditions of the special rule. So yeah,
Yeah.
fucking
Does
hell.
spoilers have Heart of the Legion? I think they
Oh,
do,
I
don't
don't
they?
think they do. No, I don't think they
I
do.
think they get rid of Fury of the Legion for Spite of the Legion, but I think they have Heart of the Legion.
Fucking hell. Wearing my rule book out today. The spoilers. Oh, they do. Spite of
Yeah.
the Legion and Heart of the
Yeah.
Legion.
So what I would say is,
Oh, interesting.
so basically you need Comrade Kurz in a big squad of the spoilers, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and then like give
But
them a
then do
spotted
you
parent.
want him sitting around an objective or do you want him
I think it would just be useful, like more than anything.
I mean, yeah, it's it's
Yeah,
fucking hilarious. A free
yeah.
plus feel no
But I
play.
would use the spoilers just with a Primarch anyway. Like that's what I would tap rings or the spoilers because they're just a blatant
Right.
wounds for him.
I
So
guess, yeah, I think the only thing is, like we were saying before, is I guess it depends what your opponent's running as well. If your
yeah,
opponent's running a Primarch, then it just ends up a fuckfest in the middle of the table, doesn't it? But if your opponent isn't running
yeah,
a Primarch, this is your one unit that can actually take on elite units.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, well, the point is he
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
potentially get a
A free
free up
plus
build
feel
up,
no pain.
right? Which is better than his actual invulnerable save, which is pretty crazy. Cool. Okay, right. Well, let's carry on. And
I
I
have
think
to
we're
say
gonna.
as well, I'm a big fan of the model as well. The model's held
Yeah,
up
model's
well.
great. Yeah,
I
really well.
really
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, it's brilliant. Why don't you take us through the Terror Squad? 100
Terror
points.
Squad.
So
So
these
100.
these can be taken as troops, I think, in Terror Assault, but they don't
Yes,
gain line,
don't
I think.
gain line, no.
Yeah.
So 115 points for five dudes. They are movement 7, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength and toughness 4, wounds 1, initiative 4, 2 attacks each, and the sergeant gets 3 attacks, leadership 8 and 9 respectively, and a 3 plus save. Um, they have the infantry skirmish special rule.
Yeah, so 3-inch coherency and then +1 for being +1 to their cover for being
Yeah,
in cover, in terrain. Sorry.
they have Fear 1, Precision Strike 6 plus, Infiltrate, Bloody
Yeah, that's right.
Murder, and Preferred Enemy Infantry. Um, and they come with Chainsword, Bolt Pistol, Power Armor, Frag and Crack Grenades. A Terror Squad of no more than 10 models may take a Legion, a Rhino Transport,
Yeah.
Legion Dreadclaw Drop Pod, or a Legion Drop Pod as dedicated transport. Meh. So, yeah, I don't know. Infiltrate. Would you put an infiltrating unit in a drop pod? Maybe.
I think that probably not, no. It's interesting they got infiltrate because it'd be amazing if they had infiltrate in line, but they don't have infiltrate in line, and that's the thing.
Yes.
Like you could infiltrate them into some cover, but let's have a look at their weapons and see if their weapons kind of like arresty and so
So
forth.
you can take up to an additional 10 executioners at 18 points each. Legion Vexilla for 10 points. Any model and unit may take one of the following options: Bolter, Volkite Charger, Rotor Cannon, or Flamer. Um, You may exchange your chain sword for a chain blade for 10 points, a chain glaive for 10 points, or a chain axe for 5 points.
Oh, a chain axe is an
I
interesting
actually like
choice.
the chain axe,
Yeah,
but then 5 points, it's a lot of points.
yeah.
Um, but chain blade, chain glaive, 10 points each. I just don't.
Yeah, it's going to be costly in a 10-man unit, isn't it?
For a 3 plus uh, unit, like bog standard uh, Space Marine unit, they're just going to get deleted, aren't they, if you put
Yeah.
that many points into them? Headsman may exchange bolt pistol for plasma pistol, hand flamer, or Volkite Spenter. And the headsman may exchange his chainsword for one of the following options: power weapon, 10 points, power fist, 15 points, lightning claw, 10 points. And the headsman can take artificial armor for 10 points. Um, I really like these.
Yeah.
I would take a squad of these
Yeah.
and I would give them fucking rotor cannons,
Okay, interesting, interesting.
infiltrate them, stick an apothecary in there or something, so you're generally going to be outnumbering units,
Yeah.
and just rotor cannon the fuck out of people. Um, to be totally honest with you, that's how I would run these. I don't think I would go down the close combat option. Uh, I think you could easily spend a fuckload of points on these and they just get shot off turn one. I think it's a
Yeah.
shame they don't have line.
Yeah, in that right, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't hate these. I quite like them. Yeah, I would go
Uh, I
rotor
would
cannon.
I would take all Volkite chargers on.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
I think preferred enemy infantry, like re-rolling those ones, is going to be massively useful. You're going to be wounding on twos typically if you outnumber. and then re-rolling the ones. I think they've got a place. I think they're probably more competitive choices, but gives you another little bit of extra fear. Yeah, especially with comrade curves around, like fear bubbles, just going to be useful. But if you infiltrate them, the thing with infiltration is that
Mm.
you're like, oh, this is great because I'll infiltrate and then I'll hop out with all my combi melters and then like blow this thing up. You got no access to that.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just something to bear in mind. But
I yeah, so I would infiltrate these and then your rotor cannons, uh they're pinning shell shock
shot shot
one.
one, aren't they as well? Yeah, and
Um
then fear as well.
that's what I'd be going for. I'd be trying to pin
And some stuff.
uh whatever it is, their heavy support squads or whatever they have.
Yeah, preferred enemy as well. So you're re-rolling ones on the whigs. Yeah,
Yes.
they're strength
Fucking
three, but if you can
Assault
outnumber,
4. Assault
yeah,
4.
there's lots of shots. Yeah.
Plus they look cool as fuck. Um
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, let's have a look at the next unit. Yeah, not too bad. Night Raptors. Okay. So, right. I think these suffer in the same way that Reavers suffer, which is that they've got a 3-up save and they're very expensive. And every time you
yes.
lose one, it's agonizing for you. It's like stubbing your toe every time you lose one.
Yeah.
Um, like I think in principle they're a great unit. Like I think they're pretty good, but they're just squishy as fuck. So you need definitely an apothecary in the unit, or a character which is super survivable, like Conrad Kurz. But I just think you just need to bear in mind that yeah, but the Reavers are safe because they can take like a land raider, not as a dedicated transport. They can just take a
Right.
land raider to
Yeah,
rescue
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
These guys are out in the open and have jump packs, so you're trying to make best use of like cover to be able to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So just a couple of things of note, really. Their weapon skill 5, that's pretty good. They're 2 wounds apiece, that's pretty good. They're leadership 8 and leadership 9, but they are 2 attack space and then 3 for the hunt master. And then kind of like they've got the normal war gear that you'd expect. It's interesting that they are actually only chain swords though. Would have thought they would have come with chain glaives, just as base, but they're actually
Yeah.
just chain
I
swords.
mean, again, I just think chain glaives are a bit of a trap, to be honest. I just think
Yeah,
10 points each.
yeah,
It's
and
fucking
then
insane.
they've got sudden strike 1, which is really nice. So they're going at
Yes.
+1
Yeah, yeah.
initiative. They've got
Yeah.
bloody murder, so they'll basically if they outnumber, sorry, if they outnumber, if they are charging against like a pinned unit, they get +1 to the roll and uh +1 to hit as well. Fear 1, not bad, and then night vision, yeah, okay, fine. You just can't shroud against them, right? Is the thing I would say. Um,
Yeah.
25
Yeah.
points per guy. They've got okay, interesting. So any model can take a blade, glaive, lightning claw, or a power weapon. I'd probably out of all those take a power weapon.
Yeah.
And like mass power axes, for example, might be
Okay.
quite good.
Yeah.
But you can take 2 lightning claws. So these guys are going to have a hell of a lot of attacks on the charge. If you just take mass lightning claws. I think the thing is, once you start doing that, though, you're just like, well, why wouldn't I take a command squad? They've got a banner and then
Yeah.
the leadership 10, they're then line, and then there are 2 up save for everybody. And then with Comrade Curse, they can gain bloody murder, they can gain night vision, and it's lots of the rules that it already comes with. Every 5 man, you can take a flamer, melter, gun, plasma pistol, or hand flamer. I think the night vision is just going to be best used with a plasma gun or a melter gun.
Yeah.
But again, you're adding points to a unit that you wouldn't typically want to add points to a unit. And then the Huntmaster can take a plasma pistol, a Serpenter, an Artificer armor. And then I'm not quite sure up to up to 10 additional Night Raptors. So it was facts, you can put 15 in a unit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think probably for the rules that they have, they are like, and the points that it costs them is probably would be right. I just think that every one you lose is just going to be agonizing, to be fair,
Yeah. Yeah.
what I would say. I don't know how
I
you get around that really, but yeah.
I kind of like these, but yeah, they are fucking expensive. I think I'd run these one of two ways. I'd either absolutely max it out, stick characters in there, just it's a bit of a wrecking ball flying around the battlefield, or I'd run like a couple of squads, 6 men, and they can just nip round the back and they're just attacking tack squads that are scoring, or they're attacking your rear line because they're weapon skill 5, which is pretty fucking
Yeah,
awesome,
it's great.
really. You know,
Yeah,
I would make it so it's almost not worth your opponent shooting at them,
yeah.
but then they're just gonna, charge that heavy support squad that's sat at the back
Yeah,
of the table or
I mean,
whatever.
we've lamented the fact they don't have line. The benefit of being able to be moved to the troops slot is that you can then unlock elites. And when you've only got one heavy support, you kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I will put these guys in the troops. They're not screwing, but it opens up another
Yeah, you
elite
can
slot
just
or
take a
whatever.
couple of small squads. I mean, even if you took 6 dudes, they're bulky too.
Yeah, bulky
So
too. Yeah, yeah,
so that's 12. You're getting all your bonuses if you charge,
yeah,
a heavy weapon squad at the back. I think I would probably stick a melter gun on just for opening up like rhinos and
yeah,
stuff, so you can pop a rhino and then charge the dickheads inside.
yeah,
I quite like these. I just think, yeah, I think they are very expensive for something that is very squishy.
yeah. 100%.
Um,
Cool. Okay, well, let's have a look
yeah.
at the next option. So we've got the Conticar. So why don't you take us through Conticar? Very shockingly limited amount of upgrades that you can actually take for this unit.
So 225 points for 5. They are movement 7, weapon skill 5, disc skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 4. Normal dudes have 2 attacks each. Sergeant has 3, and then leadership 8 and 9 respectively with a 2 plus save. They come in Tartarus Terminator armor and are equipped with heavy flamers or Volkite cavitors and chain blades. They are infantry. They have the relentless, bulky 2, chosen warriors, stubborn, lords of the night, deep strike. Deep strike's pretty good actually, and fear 1. Uh, a Conticar Terminator squad of no more than 5 models may take a Land Raider or a Legion Dreadclaw drop pod as a dedicated transport. You can take up to an additional 10 for 40 points each, and the dissident, the sergeant, may exchange his chain blade for a Eschaton Power Claw for 15 points. And that is
That's it.
literally all you can do to your unit. So they're all pretty much rocking chain blades. Um, so Lords of the Night special rule, a single Contica Terminator squad numbering no more than 10 models may be taken as a compulsory HQ choice in an army in which neither Sevatar nor Comrade Cares are present. In addition, a Conticar Terminator squad may be selected as a retinue squad in a detachment that includes Sevatar, instead of as an elite's choice. A unit selected as a retinue squad counts Sevatar as the Conticar Terminator squad leader for the purpose of this special rule. A Conticar Terminator squad selected as a retinue squad does not use up a force org slot and is considered part of the same unit as the model selected Sevatar. Conticar fucking hell. So yeah, they have to be deployed with Sevatar, and Sevatar cannot leave the squad. Okay, so yeah, they can be taken as retinue instead of an elite's choice.
No, no banner though. No banner.
No banner, no. And I would argue better options if you just took a Terminator. I guess the difference is you can take a bigger squad. Um, you can take up to 10.
Hmm.
Which you can't do with Terminator HQs. You can only take up to 5, can't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess there's
More wounds.
that.
Yeah.
Um, and the I can't see what that. Oh, Volkite Cavatar is range 10 inches, strength 6, AP 5, heavy 4, deflagrate. Yeah, it's all right. They all get that.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that these are really good for bullying tactical squads. I think that they would struggle against any other kind of elite unless Sevatar is in there. But even
yes.
then, yeah, Sevatar can murder guys, but and then these guys take the challenge because they're chosen warriors.
Yeah, I
But
mean, Chosen Warriors is pretty good, but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
they're not going to be taken on.
Huskarls.
No, they're well, they can, but I mean, I guess because you can take fucking potentially 15 of them,
Yeah,
you probably could, but then it's a real point sink. I like these. I just think you need to think what you're going to be doing with these. What are you
Tom
attacking with
runs
these?
typically 6 in a unit, and then it
Yeah,
just bullies
I
my
like that.
tactical marines. Just deep
Yeah,
strikes them. It's like, now here's what, like 24,
24.
24 Volkite shots. It's got
Yes.
deflag and then just mops up the rest.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're bulky too.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're
yeah,
probably almost always getting your Legion trait. I like these. Yeah, I just think, yeah, these are not going up against elite Terminator squads because their chain blades are just they don't have enough attacks to make full use of their chain blade because uh you don't have a pistol, so you're not even getting the +1.
yeah. And you
Um,
can't even put thunder hammers on them or power fists or
no,
anything like that.
that's the. I mean, for this, I would take the Eschaton Power Claw,
Hmm.
because it's 15 points. Fuck it, why not? And at least that does give you some AP2 heavy hitting. But yeah, I guess would I? Yeah, I probably would for 15 points.
Yeah, for 15.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Cool. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
I like them. I like
a,
them.
a bullying unit, but not won't go against
And I
fire
quite
drakes
like the
anytime
deep
soon.
strike because these can just drop in at the back of your
Yeah,
enemy and just start fucking up all those heavy support squads
yeah.
and
It's got lots of things in its favor. It's just
rapiers.
that don't expect them to beat a squad of fire drakes. Like there's lots
No,
going for this.
yeah,
Just send them
yeah, yeah,
against like just send them against tap marines, despoilers, things like that, and they'll murder them. But anything else, you're going to struggle with.
yeah.
Cool.
Agreed.
Right. Let's have a look at the next unit.
And
Oh,
Ductile.
so Inducti. Oh, so that must be so we still got Sevatar to do from the main book, but the Inducti. So they're basically a riff off of Despoilers. They have a leadership characteristic of 7, and their war gear. So all models in a unit modified by the Night Lord's Legions Inducti template must replace their chainswords with a killer blades at no additional cost. And the killer blades is strength user, melee, and breaching 6 up. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. I
Yeah, I
can
don't
I
hate
can
that.
breaching 6 up's not bad. Yeah, it's melee as well, so you combine it with a bolt pistol, extra attack. Yep, yeah, okay, don't hate that. And then you replace Heart of the Legion with unscrupulous murderers. The unscrupulous murderers rule. So if the Legion despoiler sergeant of a unit with this special rule is involved in a challenge at the start of initiative step 10, you can select up to 2 other models from the same unit with a roll of a d6 for each selected. On a 2 plus,
Okay.
that model can resolve its attacks during this step. These attacks can only be allocated to the enemy model involved in that challenge. So basically, it's like come up to him and it's like stab shanked him in the back.
Just fucking prison yarded the fucker.
So, so they can only go into the challenge on a roll of a 1. That model must resolve its attacks during this step against their own unit. Just fucking get out of there. So basically, if you roll a 1, it kills guys, and bear in mind it does have breaching 6 up. If they do say these attacks can only be allocated to the Legion to spoil a sergeant model with the own
You know.
unit, and any units inflicted do not count towards the assault results. So basically, it's like that's either kills the opponent or
Or
kills your
shanks
own
the
guy.
sergeant.
Yeah, love that. That's really great.
Fucking hell.
If either model involved in these challenges is destroyed by these attacks, the challenge is no longer considered to be ongoing. Remaining models can fight normally when the initiative set. Yeah, cool. Really fluffy, and pretty cool rule. I think you can obviously upgrade the sergeant with like something else apart from killer blades, but yeah, that is quite. Definitely these Night Lords, they're a lot of fun to play. I
Yeah,
think.
no, I like it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And don't forget
Unless
these
I roll a
guys.
1,
Yeah,
and
of
then
course.
I don't
And don't
like it.
forget these guys have line fairly cheap. So yeah, might be. But leadership characteristic of 7 is not great.
No.
Cool. Right, let's have a look at the next unit. Oh, here we go. So, Night Lords Atramentor Squad, 220 points. Why don't you take us through this one, Lee? Because you did the concept.
So they are a pretty standard stat line. Movement 7, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness 4, wounds 2, initiative 4. Atramentor has 2 attacks. The Atramentor Troubadour has 3 attacks. Leadership 7 and 8, and then a 2 plus say they are infantry. They come with a this is a squad of 5 for 220 points. Combi bolter, power weapon, and they are in Tartarus Terminator armor. Their special rules are relentless, inexorable, deep strike, cloaked in murder, sworn loyalty, bulky 2, and fear 1. So the cloaked in murder special rule. When a unit composed entirely of models with this special rule declares a charge targeting a unit that is already engaged in combat, the charge roll gains an additional +1 modifier. And if the charge is successful, then all models in the charging unit gains +1 to hit for the duration of the turn in which that charge is made. Okay, I like that. Sworn loyalty. Oh, you might have to read this because I got a big box over the top of it.
Yeah, just to go back on cloaked murder. So one of the charging unit gains +1 to hit for the duration of the turn. Yeah, that's interesting. So basically, they've got they could have +1 to wound and then +1 to hit as well. So you got a lot of stuff stacking in your favor if you can combine it with other units there.
Yeah, I like it. I tend to find these things they're good when they work, but
Not
I
good when they
it
don't work.
well, it's just yeah, it's how often do you get multiple units charging in? It does happen. It's not
Yeah,
unheard of, but
yeah.
um you really
Um,
have to plan to like, right, that unit needs to charge there and then I'll
Yeah, so
charge with
so
the
what this basically is, it's a riff off the Sons of Horus Black Reaving rule, isn't it? Because you could charge in with like a Proteus land speeder, it would then be engaged in combat, and
right,
then
okay.
and then you do your charge with these guys in order to get
Yeah,
gain the
yeah. I
buffs.
quite like that actually, but yeah.
So it will be a reason to put those things, kind of like those things in. But as you say, I think Rage 2 is massively useful with the Sons of Horus, but these guys suffer from the fact that their weapon skill 4. So I don't know. +1 to hit is nice, but they're just going to get hit back on force or with
Yeah,
force.
yeah.
So Sworn Loyalty, if Sevatar's in the army, or sorry, if he's the army's warlord, big difference there. The Attribute squads can be selected as non-compulsory troops
Okay.
choices and count as Legion Task Force Terminator squads for the purposes of Master of the Attribute warlord trait. So we haven't looked at Sevatar yet, so we will come back to him. So yeah, take us through the options for these guys.
I quite like these as troops choices though. A couple of squads of these. Um,
Yeah, we need to see if they get line because at the moment they
I don't
don't.
think they will, but you know, you're freeing up your elites choices for all your fucking rapiers and
Yeah,
bullshit that you
yeah,
want to take. You,
yeah.
okay, so they can take up to 15 additional Atramenta at 35 points each. I love the fact that
20.
all these Terminators can go fucking
So
huge
big, yeah.
squads.
Just waiting for a Scorpius blast to hit them right on the top of the head.
So one for every 5 models in the squad, one may take a heavy flamer, Reaper autocannon, or plasma blaster. Any Atramenta or Troubadour may exchange their combi bolt of one of the following: minor combi weapon, magna combi weapon, or Volkite charger.
Don't hate that.
And then they can take a chain glaive for free. Power Fist for 5 points
Oh,
each,
that's good.
Lightning Claw for free, Chain Fist for 10 points each, Thunder Hammer for 10 points each, or two Lightning Claws for 10 points each. And the Troubadour may take Grenade Harness and or a
Husband's
Headsman's Axe
axe.
for 10
Interesting.
points.
Okay.
I quite like some of these upgrades, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean they're fair, they're dirt cheap, some of these. The
Yeah.
only thing I would say is that the moment that because they're basically just stock Terminators, aren't they? Really? I mean, they've got a couple of other rules,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
moment these become good is when they get the +1 to hit,
Yeah.
and you need to pair
Yeah.
that with something. Pair it with a Proteus Land Speeder, I think, to be able to make the most of it. So you're looking at lots of ifs and buts. Then I think the thing is that they're not reliable in a way that you know that fire drakes are going to be reliable game on game. That's the thing. You need lots of things to go in your favor, I think, to make this work.
Yeah, yeah. And the +1 to hit is for the duration of the turn in which the charge is made. So if you don't
Okay, yeah,
kill what you're charging, the chances are
you
you're
fucked.
gonna just get stuck in a bit of a tar pit then, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
100%. Yeah.
but
Okay,
I don't
cool.
hate these. I don't hate it. They're basically a Terminator unit that's not quite as shit.
Yeah, I
But
I
then I guess a
worry.
normal Terminator unit's what, 175 points off the top of my head?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So you're
So,
gaining cloaked in murder, sworn loyalty, fear one, deep strike for that. What
45
like 50?
points.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I mean, deep strike alone, I think is
Deep
probably worth
Strike's
like
good.
25
Yeah.
points anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. Okay, well, let's have a look at the next unit. The man
Avatar.
himself. So, um, Yeah. Okay. So Sevatar. So he's another psyker. So if you're a Systems of Silence lover, then bear that one in mind. He the Prince of Crows. He's 220 points. His stats. So he's got movement 7. He's got weapon skill 7. Really good. Ballistic skill 5. Wounds 3. Initiative 6. What? And attacks 4. Then leadership 10 and 2 up save. He's got, in terms of like his war gear, just the grenades that he would typically have, artificer armor, and then he's got an iron halo, so he's got 2 up, 4 up. For a long time, Sevatar like had like a 3 up, 4 up, which meant you didn't really see him that often in
Yeah.
first edition, but they've sorted that out now. A couple of rules and his special rules just to point out. So of course he is a Master of the Legion. He's got Fear 2, brilliant. Precision Strikes 4 up, fantastic. Like really, really useful in a combat precision strikes if you're not stuck in a challenge. Dirty Fighter, we'll come to that in a bit. Bloody Murder, so same again. So if it's kind of like falling back or pinned, then you get +1 to your charge and +1 to hit, I think. And then Dark Dreams, and then he is of course Traitor. So he is the Master of the Iron Trementar. This is his Warlord trait. So any units of Cataracti Terminators and Tartarus Terminators, including the same detachment as Sevatar, again, Deep Strike special rule. Okay, that's really nice. And then the Atramentar can like obviously just come with it. Um, but Sevatar himself does not gain that rule. When any units of Legion Cataracti Terminators or Tartarus Terminators or Conticar Terminators that are part of the same detachment that Sevatar are included as part of Deep Strike Assault, that does not include Sevatar. They gain their preferred enemy everything special for the duration and turn in which they are deployed. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Rerolling
Yeah.
ones on the hits and the wounds, and then in addition you get a movement phase reaction. So, a couple of things to unpick on this one. So, he obviously needs to be on the board. Um, is that right? Does he have to be on the board? Does not include
Doesn't
Sevatar. Yeah, no,
say, does
no,
it?
yeah, no. So basically, he he's he's not allowed to be part of the Deep Strike Assault because he could be in reserves, but he'd be trundling on from like an outflank or just coming on from the back. I think
Hmm.
typically you probably have him in a Spartan or in a Land Raider, and then these guys come down and they get a few extra buffs when they come down. Um, Dirty Fighter, when he's in a challenge, whose weapon skill 5 or more, Sevatar gains the instant death special rule on all attacks made during that challenge. Lovely, jubbly. So I mean, when you're gonna get him into a challenge, you're probably gonna be probably against weapon skill 5 or more,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then just having
Yeah.
instant death is massively useful. And then let's just talk about his weapon quickly, actually. So Night Whisper, so it's +2 strength AP2, so it's at strength 6 AP2. It's melee two-handed, duelist edge, so he's going now at initiative
Fucking
7 in a
hell.
challenge, and then it just comes with murder strike 6 up. So that's quite interesting, I think, because if they with precision strikes, you got them on 4 up, and then you can then roll them and be like, okay, that's 6. I want that to go on like the apothecary if he's not
Yeah.
caught up in a challenge. So that's going to be quite useful. And it's mastercrafted as well. And then don't forget, he'll get all his bonuses for outnumbering if he does outnumber. He's got Dark Dreams, so he gains access to the shadows of the past and future psychic power, but that's the only discipline he can take. And just like Kurz, he has to take it on Leadership 7 for it to go off. And if it's passed, Sevatar gains +1 weapon skill and attacks for the duration of the assault phase. If the check is failed, he suffers Perils of the Warp. Remember, Perils of the Warp is like D3 wounds. It can go on to the unit. So if he's in with like lots of the spoilers, it won't matter so much. But if he's in with like 5 Terminator command squad, then those perils could be quite devastating. You're probably going to want to take him not with a Cataphractii unit, some kind of Tartarus unit, so he can still sweep. Um, but having +1 weapon skill to be weapon skill 8 is pretty crazy. I mean, yeah, particularly. I mean, what like a weapon skill 4? Yeah. There's a point where weapon skill only matters when you're facing off against like Sevatar or
Yeah.
Quayswain
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
another Primarch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I think his weapon skill 8 would be better than Alfaris. Alfaris would be like hitting him on fives or whatever. So yeah, all
That's
in all, a really
that's
decent
fucking
character.
brilliant.
Yeah, all in all, a really decent character. Fear 2, brilliant. I just think you just want to be sweeping all the time with that stuff. You know, want them to fail leadership checks, etc., etc.
I
So
mean, he's an absolute dick kicker, isn't he? As he
yeah,
should be, but fuck me. I can't work out why he's relentless.
I think all Centurion Praetor characters just have
Oh,
relentless
it's just a
villains.
thing, is it?
It's just the
Okay,
thing that
go
comes
on.
with them.
I think the only thing I would have loved to have seen is if Terminators are deep striking within a certain distance of him, there's some sort of rule.
There's a buff. So yeah,
Yeah, because
doesn't scatter or
obviously,
something like that.
yeah, because in the fluff, obviously his Knight's Whisper has a thing built into it, doesn't it? So that the
Yeah,
Terminators home in on his weapon.
yeah,
Because there's a scene, isn't there, where he leaves it in
yeah. That's right. And then the Etcherments are like
he leaves it
bursting into the
in a room, doesn't he, where they're all like threatening to kill him or something, and
yeah.
then he
It's like
walks out and they're like, he's
this.
forgot his weapon, and they all just fucking appear behind, don't they? And gun him
Yeah.
down.
Night's
It's
Whisper
like,
reminds me of a Cadbury's chocolate bar. Though I don't really like the name of that. I think they could have done better.
oh, Night's Whisper. Yeah,
Mm.
it's a bit rapey, isn't it, to be honest?
It's
Yeah.
something. It's something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great
But you know, I'm a big
character.
fan of this. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Love it.
Cool. Okie dokie. Let's continue. So, Flay Master Mordrim
It's the
Lansai.
high. That sounds Welsh.
Well, it sounds Welsh, yeah.
Clan.
Half a
Just prove how
pint of
little
phlegm
of
in your throat
Welsh
to be
we
able to
know.
say it. So 125 points. Why don't you take us through Flame Master Mordrim?
A fallen Primus Medicae of the Night Lords, the Smiling One, Bloody Bones. Movement 7, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 5, 2 attacks, leadership 8, and a 3 plus save. He is infantry character unique. He comes with an architect pistol, red jacker, dragon crack grenades, power armor, refractor field, and Narphagia. Special rules, obviously Night Lords, independent character, unfit for command, and traitor. And then it says here there's a star, but there's no star on any of the rules. Selecting Mordrim satisfies the conditions for any limitation of a right of war that requires a detachment or army to contain a model with the Legion Primus Medicae. Legion's Consularis upgrade. Cool. Um, So, Red Jacker is Strength 3, AP 3, Melee, Murderous Strike 5 plus. Specialist Weapon. Okay. Um, it's not what I was expecting if I'm totally honest. I mean, you've only got 2 attacks. It's a specialist weapon. So you're kind of fishing for 5 plus.
Yeah.
But you've only got 3 attacks if you charged
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Let's have a
feels a
look
bit.
what Narphagia does because I
Okay,
suspect
is this where it,
that's where the points will be tied up. Yeah.
at the end of each of their turns, if Mordrim, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his surname, has less than his starting number of wounds but has not been removed as a casualty and has joined a unit that has at least one other model with Legion as a starter's Night Lord special rule, the controlling player may roll a d6. On a roll of a 4 plus, Mordrim regains a wound lost earlier in the battle. If Mordrim regains a wound in this way, a model with the Legion of Starters Night Lord special rule in the squad that Mordrim has joined suffers a wound with no armor saves or damage mitigation rolls allowed.
Takes his wound.
Additionally, all models with the infantry or cavalry unit types in a unit that Mordrim has joined gain the Feel No Pain 5 plus special rule. Models with the artillery subtype are not affected by this special rule and do not gain the Feel No Pain special rule. So you can't stick them in with all your fucking rapiers.
Yeah. Okay.
And unfit for command, he may never be selected as the army's warlord. Okay, so I mean, I quite like that. I mean, it's yeah. I think I'd probably just
Uh,
take a Primus Medicae if I wanted
yeah, I
one, to
think you're
be
just going to
totally
take a
honest with you.
promise Medicaid. Yeah, I think this is a bit of a damp squib, really.
I love the fact that he can, he's just like, oh, Medicae, you've come to heal me. Why are you cutting
Yeah.
my kidney out
I'll
and
be
putting it
taking
in
that. Thank
yourself?
you. Yeah. The only time this is going to be useful is if you start tanking on him on
Yeah.
on your 3-up save.
Yeah,
That's the problem
that's
because
the
the
thing
Primus
though, isn't
Medicaid
it?
gets to yeah. This
Got a
is not a
refractor
good use of
field and a
points.
3+ armor save.
You'd be better just going with a Primus Medicaid, wouldn't you?
I think so, yeah. I mean his close combat weapon seems pretty, unless I'm missing something,
No
like
shit. Yeah.
it seems pretty shit. I would rather take a Primus Medicae and equip him up. Because at the end of the day, if you've got a weapon skill 5 dude, you want him getting involved in that scrap, don't you? If you're getting into
Yeah,
close
you want
combat,
to have a fucking
if
Thunderhammer
you
on him.
put all the points into
Fixing
Primus
guys with one
Medicae, yeah,
hand, smashing other guys on the head with the other.
exactly, yeah. It's a HQ choice. Oh no, he's elite. Oh,
Oh, okay, so it could give you an extra
okay. That is the only reason why I would take him. Um,
elite.
because he's an elite, unless
But the problem is, I see that, but then it's a moot
producer
point because
carries fucked
you
that up.
absolutely stacked your elites because you're taking terror assault, and then you're just like, oh, do I really want Flame Master, Mordrim, Lord?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess
Look, there's nothing good to say about this guy. Let's move on. He's
I
rubbish.
I would. The only reason I would take him is if I wanted to take free HQ choices and
How
other
does he
units.
even join a unit though? Because he hasn't got, he's not an independent character.
Who fucking knows?
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
he doesn't, does he?
It's in his special rules. It's not in his
Oh,
infantry stuff.
sorry. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's a fucking hell.
Wow, yeah. Okay,
Christ.
cool. Right, let's move on with this one. Let's have a look what's
That
next.
would be fucking brilliant.
Ah, great. Cool. Okay, let's
Yeah.
continue.
Let us know if you have had any joy with him, if we're missing something. But he seems a bit shit to me.
Lackluster.
Yeah, like I say, if
Yeah,
you are
if it was
desperate
60
to fill
points,
out,
if it was 60
I
points, I could
mean,
be like,
yeah.
yeah, sure. Like, yeah, cool, that's fine. But
I feel like the only reason you would take him is if you've maxed out your HQs and you really, for whatever reason, you really want
Primus
a
Medica.
Promise Medicaid to join a unit. But yeah,
Do you need yeah, let's not go down this road further. All right.
we've
Okay.
spent enough time.
Yeah, Kieran Ophion of the Chiroptera, 150 points.
The coward. That's a
Basically,
quality
whenever
nickname.
we make these comparisons now, they're always going to be against Sevatar. That's going to be the problem here, I think.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so movement 7, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5. In fact, I can just shorten this by saying he's got Praetor stats, apart from he's got a leadership 9, a 3-up save.
What is it with the
He
free up saves?
fuck knows. Volkite Serpenta. He's got Melter Bombs and then the Bloody Aegis and the Revenant as well. So he's got some cool war gear. He comes with Stubborn, Master of the Legion as well, and he's also called the Coward and the Aberrant Bravery. So uh Aberrant Bravery, if Ophion's controlling players controlling fewer objectives than their opponent, Ophion and the Night Lords units within 12 inches of him gain the Stubborn special rule. Okay, I mean he has Stubborn anyway, but I suppose the 12-inch bubble is useful. In addition, an army whose warlord is may make an additional reaction during the movement phase. Okay, yep, fine. Not like incredible, not terrible, but not incredible. The Bloody Aegis grants a 4-up invulnerable save. Okay, that's so you've got a 3-up, 4-up. Interesting. Increasing to a 3-up in bun save in close combat. In
Okay.
addition, when
Yeah, that's
fighting a
interesting.
challenge, each to hit roll of a 1 made by the opposing player for attacks directed against Ophion result in a single strength 4 AP wound being inflicted
Nice.
upon the model engaged in a challenge. Oh, okay, so if you roll a 1, then you
You
get hit
take a
with a
strength
strength
four
4
wound.
attack.
Yeah.
Okay, that's I quite like that. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool rule. Then the coward, once he has lost at least a single wound, he gains the feel no pain 4-up special rule. When reduced to a single remaining wound, he replaces it with a feel no pain 4-up with a feel no pain 3-up, which could be a feel no pain 2-up if he's with a tactical squad and has got Heart of the Legion. So yeah, just that could be
Fucking
pretty neat. And then his actual weapon is +C strength AP3, melee shred breaching 5-up, and then mastercrafted.
okay. I
Yeah,
like that.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. He's basically somewhere between a Praetor and a Delegatus. Do you just want a Praetor with a Thunderhammer so you can just pick your own Warlord trait? 'Cause some of those Warlord traits are pretty good. He's pretty
Yeah.
could be pretty survivable. I think, um, but yeah, I think he's okay. He's all right. Uh,
I think for 150 points, I quite like him. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
he's all right. I mean, a
3 plus
Praetor
invulnerable
with a
saving close
Thunderhammer is
combat. I
150
mean, you
points,
need
but
to be putting him in challenges, really.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh no, sorry, the 3 plus is just in close combat, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
It's pretty
that's
survivable. I mean, it's
great if
quite
you're
cool.
going against things with AP2, etc. But if you're just going against things that are throwing out a lot of attacks, you don't
Yeah.
really want to be taking those 3 plus saves.
No, but you do want
Um,
that sweet 4 up fill no paint followed by a
it is a
well
shame. If
becoming a
he had a
2 up
2
fill no
plus save, I think he'd be fucking brilliant. But
yeah,
that 3 plus is just ooh.
hurts him right.
But for 150 points, I quite like him. The aberrant bravery,
Yeah, yeah,
it's good when it comes into play,
yeah,
but the one time it comes into play, you'll have no units within 12 inches of
yeah, yeah.
him.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, that's the problem.
But yeah, I don't hate him.
Yeah.
I think he's more than usable.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's unique though. He can't buy. I don't think he can buy bloody murderers. So he can go with some units because
Oh,
he's
yeah, that's
unique. Whereas
fucking
Sevatar like just has it. Like all the
yeah.
stuff we've looked at so far just has it.
Mm,
Okay, so we've got some sample lists here created for us by producer Kerry. And this is the first one. This is a Terror Assault one. So we've got two chaplains that are identical with a mastercrafted power maul, 135 points. And then we've got Delegatus to unlock the Right of War. He's got Jump Pack, Laws of Murder, and Paired Lightning Claws. We've got Contemptor Dread with double Gravis Las Cannon. It's interesting. So has he list is all about manipulating night fights. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll come to this in a sec because Kerry's not bought Prey Sight for this guy,
yeah.
which I think is probably an error. Uh, three rapiers with Gravis Heavy Bolter arrays, uh, two apothecaries with Warpulp jump packs, eight night raptors, five plus the sergeant with dual lightning claws, 15 assault marines with three power swords, two 11-man attack squads. Well, loads of scoring in this. It's crazy. Um, and then two times six recon marines with nemesis bolters with prey sight, three javelins with las cannons and multi-melters with prey sight. I think that's a really great shout with those. Sabers with prey sight. Yeah, again, I think that's pretty good. And then two scar and punishers with prey sight as well. Yeah, this could do some serious work actually. This is quite a terrifying list, and he's really lent into the um the fact that you've only got one heavy support is now not a problem because you've got like the javelins and stuff like that. I think if it were me, I'd drop a couple of attack marines and then on each unit and then buy prey sight for the Gravis Heavy Bolter rapiers because they're 48-inch range. So like being able to shoot across the table is just massively useful.
Yeah.
Um so what's he said about it? The list is about manipulating night fighting, fear, and pinning to hold units up and make benefit the Legion traits. Because bulky, the javelins, rapiers, and sabers will count as big units and number out things for that +1. Yeah, I totally agree. Terror Assault only gets the one heavy support, but two Scarrans in a squad will throw out a massive volume of fire. Yeah, that with the +1 outnumbering poses a threat to all infantry and light to medium armor. Agreed. Yeah, that's actually a really good point, actually, because that +1 for armor pen on a Sakaran Punisher, you basically feel like an Iron Warrior, wouldn't
I
you?
mean,
There.
essentially, yeah, you are
Yeah.
literally an Iron Warrior. Yeah.
Night
Yeah.
Raptors and the Submarines can either move across the board or deep strike for a big pinning bubble. Adding the apothecaries and characters plus the bulky jump packs means they will easily outnumber most units. Yeah, 100%. This has got some nails. I think that the only thing I would probably do differently would be to instead of taking the Night Raptors, I would actually swap that out for a command squad because I'm
Okay. Yeah,
yeah
yeah, yeah.
I just think that like the points would be roughly about the same. They can take dual lightning claws, they get the banner, they get the leadership 10, and I think that that would for me be good. But I actually think this is a really cool Night Lords list. This is making me want to do Night Lords actually.
Uh-oh.
Let's have a look at the next list. So the Swift Blade. So we've got Praetor with Spatha Bike, Thunder Spather is such a unusual word, isn't it? Thunderhammer, Traces of
It
Judgment.
sounds
Yeah,
like an
rude.
insult, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
such
you
a
fucking
spather.
spaffer.
Command squad with 9 men on Spather bikes with 4 power lancers and then 5 with lightning claws. Yep, I like that. I mean, we talked about that, didn't we? Like a Praetor with a command squad. Promise Medicate on Spather bike with power maul. Aisa Terrorist on Spather bike. Yeah, I like that a lot actually. A Librarian on the Spather bike, and I like. We didn't consider librarians at all actually when we were talking
Didn't
about it,
actually
but
think about that.
no,
No,
but
that's
actually, like
filth.
making them +1 toughness and +1 strength actually gets around a lot of the issues with just bikes generally.
Yeah, yeah.
So like biomancing them up, I think is yeah a good shout. So got 10 tac squads or three squads of 10-man tac squads. I think that's also important because you got things moving so quickly around you. You're going to have to deal with those things, and then it's going to leave the tactical marines unmolested. We've got 5 Recon Marines with Nemesis and Prey Sight. 2 lots of 6-man Legion Outriders. It's interesting because you could like get rid of a unit and then add some like Melter or Plasma onto there if you really felt like it. Um, 6 Ruinstorm Demon Brutes with Putrid Corruption. Love that. Love that, Kerry. 6-man Hunter Jet Bikes with Plasma Cannons. 2 Predators with Heavy Conversion Beamers, Last Cannon Sponsons, and Prey Sight.
Oh,
Yep. And then 2 Sakaran Punishers with Heavy Bolts and Sponsons and Pencil, and then Prey Sight as well. So Primus Medico rides with the command squad. Easter Terrorist joins one of the Outriders and summon demons in the opponent's face. Turn 1, Librarians join the Jet Bikes or Outriders. Takes double telepathy if you're feeling dirty. But actually, also, I think that double biomancy kind of gets around a lot of the issues for bikes like toughness 5, strength
yeah,
5.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it gets around a lot of that. So that might be another one you might want to consider as well. This is a really cool list. Another great list by Kerry. Actually, I really like this one.
I
This is
like it. I
really
think the only thing I'd do different is I'd probably split up the two predators.
yeah. So you're
You
not
don't
yeah
you don't
yeah. I would
need
do
the bonus
no.
when you've got heavy conversion beamers.
You just in the
Um,
corner, just in the
yeah,
far corner, something else for it to shoot at. Yeah, like that.
but yeah,
Like that a lot. Yeah,
like it a lot.
love it. Cool. Okie dokie. Do we have a third list or is this
That's it.
that's it? Cool. So what was your overall? What's your feelings about Night Lords? How do you like them? Yeah, yeah, nay.
Oh, I like them a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like them a lot. I think once you scratch the surface, there's so many fucking dirty little things you can
yeah,
do with them.
100%.
Um, that I think it would be an incredibly fun Legion to play
Yeah.
because you can kind of, I don't want to say abuse, but manipulate pretty much any way you want to play them, really. If you want to go Terminator heavy, if you want to go TAC troop heavy, you want to do assault squads, like they kind of work for everything.
Yeah. What they're
Um,
really good at, I think, is just dealing with the threats on the tabletop of the 31st millennium. Like,
yeah, I
Tempters.
think
Like they'll
so.
wound they will their melter will, if they outnumber, will wound on 2s.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
and that typically most melters wounding on 3s. Like it gets around a lot of the strength issues of the iron hands. Like it doesn't deal with the
yeah, yeah,
doubling
yeah,
out issue, but it does deal with the dice rolling. Like it's the
yeah,
dice rolls I think that are always going to be in your favor. The fact that Cigar and Punishers can now glance out like an AV13 because it gets +1 to armor pen is just massively useful. Like you could just glance it out with 18 shots. I'd be pretty confident that I go, yeah, I could just glance out this like Sakaran, this other Sakaran that's facing me across the other table with
yeah.
my 2 Sakarans against your 1 Sakaran. And also you can't shroud against it. So yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and that's super interesting because I didn't play them in first edition, but I seem to remember in first edition their biggest weakness was they couldn't deal with vehicles.
yeah.
Like
Comrade Curse just couldn't was like
they
strength
were
6 and couldn't do
very
anything about
much killing,
defenses.
great at killing infantry,
Yeah,
but terrible at killing anything else, is how I seem to remember them.
yeah,
Whereas now, as long as you're setting it up right, they're great at killing everything.
everything. Yeah,
I
I
mean, they're
think that
basically Iron Warriors,
the Iron Warriors
but it
in
works against infantry.
yeah, that's
Whereas
exactly what it
obviously,
is. Yeah,
Iron Warriors, it only works against tanks, automated dreadnoughts. I guess the difference is you don't have to think about it as an Iron Warrior. It's
yeah,
just there. Um, but yeah, I really like them. Really like them. Like I say, like it was a toss up between them and Iron Warriors won. But I think yeah, just a fun Legion. extremely tough. But I think the good thing with extremely tough Legion, it's extremely tough Legion, but you have to play it
Well, yeah,
well.
yeah. I think that the order of operations will be important, trying to get as much pinning as you can. Like you'll be like,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
shoot this
Yeah.
thing first to get rid of this so I can pin it, and then this fear bubble will affect it. The order of
Yeah.
operations,
Yeah.
I think is
Yeah.
important.
Definitely.
I actually think so. I'm going to say I think they're too strong in their current format, and I would like to see
Mm,
them get rid of their +1 for vehicles. Like I think that the
interesting.
+1 to wound in combat is appropriate for the Night Lords. It doesn't make much sense to me that they get +1 to vehicle when outnumbering. Like it's nonsensical as a rule. Like behind the law, and actually just like the outnumbering
Yeah.
for close combat, I think, and for infantry, I think it's fine. I think let the Iron Warriors be the Iron Warriors, and let the Night Lords be the Night Lords, right?
And that's it, isn't it? And I had exactly the same thoughts when I was looking at their rules of like, why do they get these buffs against? You don't scare a vehicle, do you?
No,
You don't
no,
run up and shank a tank. Like
yeah,
you can try,
yeah,
but you're just going to blunt your knife. Like, yeah, it doesn't make like
yeah,
it is the one thing because I would say their rules are really fluffy. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I do love the way they've been written, but yeah, I agree. That's the one thing of like it doesn't make a huge amount. But
I
then,
think that people would say, right, which is the argument would be, well, it's about like overwhelming firepower against the tank and bullying it. But if you and so therefore three laser rapiers would be able to outnumber a tank, but like normal legions with three
yeah,
labor would
can
outnumber it.
do
So
that.
why wouldn't they get it?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not, I think for me, doesn't go really to the heart of the Legion how it plays. So I'd like to see that removed in the next edition. But as it stands at the moment, I think that with their current rules, with all their war gear options, they are the strongest, or if not one of the top three strongest legions. Um, yeah, that we've looked at. Cool, cool, cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Right.
like it.
So let's say final thank yous to Kirton Games for sponsoring the show. Thanks to those guys. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you check out their websites, particularly if there's a new box set coming or things like that.
Ooh.
Make sure you pick up your stuff from these guys. Next up, we have Beowulf Miniature Printing for all of your printing needs. If you're looking for kind of like arms en masse, then like these guys. Make sure you tap up these guys' heads en masse. Like they do really really good prices for stuff that breacher shield stuff like that. Really good. And then finally, thank you to Gator 3D Printing. If you're looking for something really bespoke, printing at the highest quality, then make sure you tap up Dan. So thanks for sponsoring the show, Dan. And then if you want to, well, we've got a big thank you to our own Atramentar, our own members of the High Lords of the Atramentar, which is our Heresy Hammer Patreons.
The top of the scumbags.
Exactly. Yeah, these guys get +1 to wound, definitely. So these are our Praetors, these are our +1 these are our top tier patrons. We have around 160 top tier patrons, but I had a look today. We've got about 600 members of our Patreon at the moment, if not 650. But these are our tippity top. These guys really keep our lights on for us, and they receive a reward every 6 months from the point that they signed up. That's not to delegitimize anything that any other patrons give us, but of course these guys, whereas everyone else is part of the Terror Assault Squads, these guys are the Atramentar. So thank you. We've got so many now. We've actually had to spread you over to two
Yeah,
pages. It
it's
was
crazy,
becoming a
isn't it?
nightmare for producer Kerry to actually be able to fit you on one page. So
Yeah,
thanks ever so much. Expect a message from me today actually about your rewards as well. Those people who are due for their reward. So yeah,
your
thanks to you
rewards of
guys.
treason.
Exactly, exactly right. Just final few things. So we obviously do a community show once a month where we feature your guys' work and your progress. So make sure you continue to use #HeresyHammer on Instagram and on Facebook. If you've got this far and haven't liked or subscribed, please make sure you do. You can just comment, just write something like "show's great, really enjoyed it," or "you're completely
You're good.
incorrect," "Atramentar
Wankers.
are total shit," or something like that. Because it just fuels the algorithm. It just helps it to get to other people as well. So make sure you do all those things.
Feed the algorithm.
If you've got
Yeah.
lists that you want to send us, I think we've got a list only yesterday actually to review on the next show. Please make sure heresyhammer30k@gmail.com. Make sure you send us your messages there because producer Kerry will put them on the next show. And if you have enjoyed this show and you would like to see more of our content, then you can go sign up to Heresy Hammer Patreon. You can join it for as little as £3 a month. There's a 7-day free trial, so you can kind of explore what's on there at the moment. But I can guarantee you will not get through all of the content that is on there in 7 days. But there are multiple tiers, but £3, yeah, it will help us to continue the show if you guys support us. So yeah, much appreciated. And with that one, I will bid you adieu. So thanks ever so much. And then Lee will also bid you adieu as well.
Thank you. Thank you. See
And
you later.
yeah, and we will see you on the next show, guys. Thanks for watching and see you soon.
Take care. Bye bye.